When I was 12 or something, we were shown Big Bird Goes to Japan, and then everybody came to me all of a sudden and they're like, do you have a kimono? And do you pay in yen?
Do you eat sushi every day?
Welcome back to the Trash Taste Podcast. I'm your host, and unfortunately, I'm hosting with a guest sometime now.
We've completely messed up the order now, haven't we?
I know. It used to be that Garm was always the
I saw
host.
that it was notoriously always you.
Yeah, and none of them has aired yet, but like Joey's hosted the last two guests.
Yeah.
So I'm sure like the subreddit is in anarchy right now.
It's like the metaverse has been destroyed.
And now it's my time to host. With the wonderful Reina Scully, of course.
The honor. Thank you so much for having
Yay.
me.
Yes.
It has been a fucking millennia since we all caught up with you.
It's been quite a while. Well over 2 years between us.
Yeah.
Well over 3 years
Yeah.
between us. And never.
Yeah, I think I met
Was
you.
it the first time for you?
Well, I met you very, very briefly, but you don't probably remember.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Oh
Oh.
When?
No, it's
When?
at AX, but you were cosplaying as like Chun-Li, I think.
Oh, yeah, that sounds about right.
And you were like, I was like, oh, hi, because I was with Joey. And then you.
That was the first time I met you, right?
No, that was 2 years after.
No
we
one
met.
knows what anyone meant.
We met in 2016.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Fuck.
And then
Remember that?
it was
Who
crazy because
remembers?
after we met, then we like randomly shot in Japan, and I was like, I need to go buy a bunch of eroge, and we were like, yeah, let's make a video.
Oh
out of it.
yeah. We
So that
spent
was,
like 6 hours in that one eroge shop.
It was
I think I remember watching this
Yeah,
video.
and I made like
I remember that video.
I made
as
like an
well.
animated vlog about
yeah,
it.
because
right?
it was too messed
Yeah,
up.
because otherwise it would have just been censor bars for 15 minutes.
I did that. I just had like mosaics the whole time. Like for 7 minutes straight, it's just like us talking in mosaics and then like cutting really.
Well, I mean, it's like being on a
dangerously.
Zoom call in public now with the filter behind you. It's like, hi, everyone, here's the video. Just everything is blurry. around here.
Because I remember watching that video. I remember thinking it looked like, you know, one of those undercover cop videos where they like bust like the pedophile or something.
Right,
and
right.
you just like sneakily like going around the shop and you're like,
What's your favorite eroge?
So, before we jump right into the deep end of content, I think, Reina, you should probably introduce yourself to the audience who might not know who you are.
Yes. I don't really know what I do anymore because due to the pandemic, I had to like really kind of do different things that I normally do. But I do YouTube. I'm normally a host for other channels like First We Feast. I have a show called Gochi Gang where we
Wow,
go
right, I
around-
totally. You've literally like done everything. I swear.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I always saw you as like a YouTube jack of all trades.
Oh
you
my
were like
God,
always.
the
You were like always everywhere.
That's
always
so nice
hosting
of
something.
you. Oh, thank
No,
you.
no, I'm being serious. I'm not trying to.
The fuck? That's so. I'm gonna cry. I'm sorry. I'm filled with emotions. This is also the first time I've like collaborated physically with another person in a whole year. So like even like physical contact with another person is kind of intense for me.
Oh my god, it's real. It's real.
And we're speaking English. But yeah, normally I'm a host, and then I also do some voice work. I obviously do YouTube, but for now it's really just to kind of keep myself as relevant as possible until my hosting gigs come back. But,
right.
Yeah.
Because most of your hosting gigs are overseas, right?
Yeah, they're overseas.
Yeah.
And also even like voicing stuff. I recently just did a couple Japanese voices for some video game companies here, but
Nice.
I had to record myself alone in my home, and like I
Right.
don't have any
Oh, okay.
like I had to use my own mixer, and I was so scared. So even like I don't even go to studios anymore. So again, this is very exciting. It's very nice.
I'm honored. Thank you.
Well, I mean, like, I guess, like, how I found you, and I think how a lot of people also know you, is back in the day, you were on SourceFed.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that is definitely.
That's
where
what I mean.
right.
Literally, Reina has done everything.
I
like
completely
Reina has
forgot.
been around forever doing that. Like,
I
online.
have.
I forgot
I'm
that's
very
how I
old.
discovered you. No.
You're like royalty. You know.
There's
Yeah.
actually an ongoing joke about how
really?
I'm 42, and I actually came on this podcast specifically to destroy.
Just
that
dispel the rumors.
Yes, that's what I came here
Destroy
for.
people with facts and logic.
Yes, and I have to throw you under the bus. Last year,
Me?
Yeah. 2 years ago, when we were doing
Drama.
that Hanami thing,
Yeah.
in one of the videos, you loudly and jokingly were like, "No, she's really 42. Everybody believe me," and everyone believed you. And you had like the silliest look, and you were just like running around, just like yelling, and yet they all believed you.
They want the truth more. You know.
bothers me so much. Like as I get older and as I like approach that age and that like curve gets closer.
Well, it'll be right eventually, right? You know, a broken clock is right 2 times a day, right? That's the saying.
People will watch that video next year and being like, well, she's actually 42 now, so.
I like nodded at first. I was like, yeah.
No, but like, yeah, but like,
SourceFed.
I feel you're one of those like YouTube personalities where it's kind of like everyone knows who you are, but there isn't like a specific moment in time where people came to know you. You're one of those personalities where it's like, I mean, if you watch YouTube,
She's hosting everything I like.
It's the kind of name and face where it's like, yeah, I've definitely seen you somewhere, but I can't pinpoint where.
Right,
Yeah.
I can't place it. I get that a lot.
Yeah.
You've been involved in so many different projects and so many different channels as like the professional host that if anyone's in like the nerd industry, especially the anime industry, they've definitely seen your face around.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I worked really hard in the beginning. So to establish myself at SourceFed, they obviously they were, ramping up to gain other hosts. And I was their 3rd generation host, and they definitely wanted to get into anime. And before that, I was translating anime for fan subs and for Crunchyroll. So I was like, I made sure I secured that professional angle so that I have like something to fall back on.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not just like, oh, like I promise I know what I'm talking about. It's like, no, I know the technical stuff, so I can kind of delve into really strange things if I need to, or things that like people don't really reveal normally. So
SourceFed was like the first big thing.
yeah, I would say so.
How did you get involved with that?
Yeah, and I'm also curious because I'm sure the viewers are going to be the same way. I've heard SourceFed. I know that all I know is that Phil DeFranco was jumping right into it back then with that. I don't really.
Sup, Nation?
I
get sued by Phil.
I don't know fully what SourceFed is, so maybe explain to the audience while you know what it is and how it became a thing.
Sure. So SourceFed was pretty, I'd say, like OG YouTube, where they started with this thing called 20 minutes or less, and they'd have these really quick short segments where they would delve into news but make it really comedic, because the original OG3 were comedians and they were very intellectual too, so they knew how to mold the story into a very digestible but also like a funny way, so they were really good at selecting stories. And they obviously purposefully did not choose like intense or like depressing things, and they really made a name for themselves.
They left the depressing shit to Philly D, right?
Exactly, because at least Phil would he has a little bit of a long form platform where he's able to talk about it, so it's not like dismissing it necessarily.
Yeah.
So, but and I think they were part of the original YouTube startup program, where I think Phil was given startup money from YouTube to start up SourceFed, and that's how he kind of ragtag handled that, hired the 3.
This is when the partnership program was just like really early days, right?
Yeah, and very exclusive.
Where people were just like, oh, you can make money from being a YouTuber? What is going on?
This is like 2009, 2010 maybe.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was an intern in 2012. Actually, that's how they found me. I moved to LA for fun, and also I was like sick of the snow in New Jersey. That's where I grew up. And I auditioned I didn't audition. I got hired as one of their interns, and I was Phil's intern as well. And he had me guest host a sexy ladies segment.
I remember when Phil did
Well, I mean,
that.
it was for the thumbnails, right?
Yeah.
It's like that was the first time I was ever on camera.
What did you?
Wait.
So anyway, how did this pitch come about? He's like, "Listen, Reina, I got a job that only you can do. Sexy. I don't
Did you
want
apply
to."
for this?
No, I was just his intern. I was like getting him lunches and coffee, and I was just doing some like research for metadata kind of thing.
Was it a thing where I don't want this to seem too misogynistic? Could you like spice it up a little bit? Make
That
it.
was actually exactly it.
Okay,
Like, I
that's all
can't
right.
even tell you how exact that was.
Okay. I know you, Phil.
Yo, Ashley, do you want to host a new segment for us?
And it literally, like, the segment was called "Intern Reina Brings in the Sexy Ladies."
You can't make this shit up. That's.
So that happened.
That's probably a pass that Phil kind of wants to like brush under the rug, right?
Oh my god.
That is the most
Well,
2012 sounding title
Yeah.
I've ever heard.
It is.
So that's when Phil started jumping right into it. Huh?
I had to say Sup Nation. That's why it like
Sup
rings
Nation.
in my head. But it was actually a lot of fun. And Darren was the cameraman at the time, and he was the producer, and he was so good, and he was like so professional, and he really, I don't know, he like brought me into this new world of being not an intern, but talking on camera. And I was so nervous, but it was just like so much fun. And also, it was talking about sexy ladies, which I was like, yeah, I'll do that. Like,
could be talking about worse things.
Yeah. The worst part about it, though, was that it was this new fresh 18 girl who was being, I guess, like Googled before that, but she like just turned 18. So it's like, it's legal now. And I had to like do that. Yeah, so
YouTube 10 years ago was a different planet.
it's a different,
It was.
and that was
Yeah.
like monetized.
Yeah, I mean,
Can only imagine.
It makes me feel sad that when you refer to SourceFed, you're like, oh, it's an OG YouTube channel. And I'm just like, oh, shit, I guess it is, isn't it? Oh, fuck.
you're an OG YouTube channel.
I keep forgetting because I've been following Phil since close to when he started, right?
Yeah.
So I remember when he announced SourceFed, I was like, ooh, what's this new venture that he's doing? It sounds exciting.
Yeah.
And now that it's like now an OG dead channel that is just buried in people's memories, like that makes me feel a bit sad. I'm just having this realization live on camera.
I used to watch SourceFed a lot.
Oh my god!
Like fucking yeah, I used to watch it a lot. I was like, at one point, I would say it's probably one of my favorite channels to watch.
Wow.
Just because it's like, again, it's like, you know, it wasn't like as, you know, I watched Philly Day as well, obviously for like the news stuff, but it was also just like, you know, it was edutainment.
Yes,
right? That was like the big selling point for it. It was like, you get to learn some shit, but at the same time, you can have fun with these comedians.
Yeah. And you kind of remember it because it's funny. I think that was also the other point of it. Like, it's shareable because it's not dark, and it's also funny, so it makes sense to like put all over Facebook kind of thing. Everybody else can watch it and be entertained by it. So yeah, it was like a brilliant idea, and they started making other sub channels like SourceFed Nerd, and then I ran their gaming channel, Super Panic Frenzy, with Steven Suptic, and that was like my golden time, I'd say. Like that was when I was already finally comfortable being on camera, and it was really fun.
Right.
And then I left for Crunchyroll. So
wow. So what made you leave?
I was really heartbroken that they canceled Super Panic Frenzy on my gaming channel, because we were hitting all the numbers like hard. We were completely setting all the goals, and at the time we were owned by Discovery Digital Networks. And and
I remember that whole
I
thing.
remember SourceFed ending, and then they tried to continue it under a different name or something, right?
Yeah, that was bad. That was, I think it's like a completely different company now, but right when SourceFed, like when Discovery let go of SourceFed, somebody tried to pick it up and kind of like almost zombie reanimate it by still using the audience and usurping it.
Yeah, like they took the same channel, renamed it, and hired different hosts to continue on this show.
As though, it felt very like puppeted and strange.
It kind of felt like you went to a friend's house and there was just a stranger sitting there pretending to be your friend.
This is
and
my
you're just
house
like,
now.
Wait a minute, what's going on? I'm at Connor's house.
Welcome back, Con. Good to see you back here.
It was like, hold on, that's not Connor, that's a Connor animatronic.
That's so worrying. Oh my god. I didn't follow any of the SourceFed stuff at all. I think on YouTube I was not watching that kind of stuff then. I think 'cause I was still watching like gameplay stuff. I was like exclusively in like Call of Duty walkthroughs or some stupid shit.
That's not stupid shit. I was into that too.
Can we talk about?
Don't lie.
Can we talk about SourceFed anime or whatever that? What was the anime show that you had on SourceFed?
SourceFed Animated, I think. Yeah, that was fantastic. We had Andre, this independent animator, make animations of short clips from things like our podcasts and our table talks, and they were very good because he was very good. The animator did everything. He really expanded the comedy from our half. So.
Not SourceFed Animated. So,
Anime Club.
Anime Club. That's what it was called. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I should have
I know none of these stuff.
I should have figured that out. Yeah.
With what was it? William Haynes? Is it?
William Haynes.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember who the original host was.
I remember when that came out.
Yeah.
And I was
man.
like, shit, I'm going to be out of business.
Yeah, actually, so Anime Club existed before me, and Meg Turney was doing it, and she kind of did it like...
All these names sound so familiar, but not quite. I don't have a face to put to them.
Meg Turney now is like a cosplayer.
And she's like a sexy model, and she's doing great. And we still keep in touch. I miss her a lot. She misses Japan. But yeah, so she started it, and I do believe they wanted to expand it, and it would obviously make sense if somebody who like has some kind of professional experience with anime was on it as well. On top of like being Japanese, that's kind of a no-brainer there.
Yeah.
So I was legitimately hired mainly to do that, to fill that role.
Right.
And it was just when she was on her way out, so I basically replaced her.
Yeah.
And then Will and I took it over, but it was fun. But it was really difficult because the style was supposed to be that I was the so-called expert kind of teaching the novice.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
He has all these questions, but
Yeah.
they're so very left field that like I didn't know how to kind of bring it back.
because I think all respect to Meg Turney, but because I remember when she was handling Anime Club, which was like season 1 of Anime Club. It's like. It started a lot of, let's say, controversial opinions within the anime community. Because I remember it was the first time where we saw like this kind of mainstream YouTuber try to like bring the anime culture to the wider mainstream audience. Nowadays, it's like pretty synonymous.
Every brand is like, hey, I like anime.
Everyone talks about anime now. But like
we at Arby's love anime.
Back then, we had this like anime show that was like produced by, Philly D, or, he had his name involved with SourceFed. And this was like the most mainstream anime had gotten to any YouTuber. And, all my love to Meg. There was like some episodes where like some lines were said. Well, I can't remember if it was her or like her guest host.
Yeah.
Where where they called I think they called Fullmetal Alchemist a shoujo anime.
Oh. I could feel the unbridled grudge in you as you're talking. Like
you remember how anime fans were back in the day, right? They saw this medium as like a fucking holy ground.
Yeah.
So
I think it didn't help as well that the show itself was like probably the most well produced out of like any Anitube content out there at the time. So it just felt like, yes, I too watch anime, younger generation.
Yeah, because I felt like it wasn't her fault. It was just the fault of just I think the way the show was set up just wasn't the right way to like really embrace the medium of anime or like introduce it to a new audience.
Totally.
But I'll say this, like what you and William did, you made like it it was a huge improvement, right? Because I feel like the chemistry was a lot better, but like what I wanted to ask is that going into this, did you know about all the negative feedback that you'd gotten from like anime fans?
As a translator, I was already pretty connected to a lot of different anime sites, so I was well aware isn't the right way to say it. I was aware, but putting a face to the opinion is a whole nother world. And the backlash is quite scary. However, exactly how you said, I think people were quite excited about the improvement, and there's a lot less you can criticize to a translator. So, and also I'm like actually Japanese, so that like kind of mattered in their eyes as well. That's also like another creepy thing about anime fans, right? Like especially back in the day, there's like so much more nerd cred if like you're actually Japanese. That means you can watch it without.
Joey's like, is there?
I would argue that still exists.
No, it does. It totally does.
Right? No, it does. It does. Yeah, I was trying to be like modest about it, but that mattered, and I think that overrode any major criticisms, and also. Again, I was already in that sphere, so I was conscious of what to say, what not to say. If Will said something weird, I'd go to the producer and the editor and be like, "You got to cut that out."
Because like I've always been curious because no disrespect to Meg, it felt like you did take a lot of the criticisms that they had gotten and really use that to improve the show. And I was wondering if it was like a conscious decision.
Very conscious.
Okay,
yes, very conscious. Because it really was unfair to Meg because she was the only person in the entire building that even knew anything about anime. The editors didn't know, so she had to source all the photos herself. I mean, granted, I did too after I took over, but there's no producer that oversaw what was correct or incorrect or knew the sub audience or like knew how to like hunt Reddit for it and stuff like that. So I came in and I kind of started from the backlog, and I was, due to the research, I knew everything that would make sense, would maybe hit, would be bad. Is Will gonna understand? Like that was also the other tether, right? Like you have to make sure that the novice character is going to be able to kind of follow it as well without having to use like
because I guess he needs to like channel people who are watching the video that don't know anything about it.
Right. But again, sometimes he was so random that it was hard to be like, nobody's thinking that. Like, Don't ask that.
So it sounds like before it was the situation where like the kid is like, the teacher's like, that one kid's good at computers, he can fix everything, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it felt
get him
like.
in.
That is exactly what it felt like. It felt like Meg just got put in there because she was the only one that knew anything about anime at all.
And it's awful because it was such a passion project of hers, and she wanted to do it as a fan. But you have to get technical. You have to, especially if you don't have a producer and an editor that's going to fix it on your behalf after you're done. She wanted it to be opinionated and fun and what she likes, and that would have worked maybe now, but that was so not the case on a platform like SourceFed. So it's just like it just did not work.
I feel like you were like, that idea was a few years ahead of its time in terms of a talk show about anime that could really do well on YouTube now. I feel like back then it was just, there was no way, it was really hard to get new people into anime, especially on YouTube. And a lot of the backlash you got were just from anime fans, being like, okay, no, we don't want this to be the representation of what anime fans are. And now I just think, man, anime fans were pretty fucking toxic back then as well.
I mean, they still are. Love you guys, but we are.
Love you guys. I feel like early YouTube, they were like next level.
Well, yeah, because I think at that point, again, like it was like Gaunt's saying, right? It was like the Holy Grail. It was like this protected thing where it was like it was theirs and it had been like tarnished.
I kind of understand that though. Like when I was younger and I was in Japanese school in New Jersey, when Pokemon came to the States, I was like, that's ours. Like, what are you doing? His name is Ash. Like, no. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even as a kid, like I kind of understood that exclusivity thing. So I also, like, as an anime fan, I understood anime fans, and I actually surprisingly didn't get as much hate, especially throughout SourceFed. They were actually very happy that I existed, so I was super lucky there. Got a lot of hate in Crunchyroll.
I think it was just because it was so obvious that you were just a weeb through and through. People just saw you and they were just like, okay, she is one of us.
Yeah, you weren't.
I got accepted.
You weren't trying to pretend to be a weeb. You were a weeb.
Yeah, a lot of the time with these company videos, there's so much of it is like, hi guys, we love the thing that you love, right? It's kind of wacky, huh? This thing's wacky too. Oh, you guys, this is so wacky.
FMA, my favorite shoujo.
FML, this was a cringe moment, right, guys?
I wanted to give people the benefit of the doubt back then, and there was like that thing that got that was in one show, and I think the other thing was one of them was talking about Baccano. Yeah. And I think the guy who was new there, he said, it kind of feels like a ripoff to FMA, right? Because there's Baccano said on a train, and there's an episode of FMA that's said on a train. And even that was like the spacebar moment for me as well.
I was like, hold up.
And I just think you did such a good job, because this is the environment that you came into to have to prove people that, okay, there is an actual big improvement to this show, and you did a great job.
Does that video still exist on YouTube?
Sorry?
Does that video still exist on YouTube?
I think season 1 of Anime Club is not on YouTube anymore.
Train to Busan it's a little bit of a ripoff of Hogwarts, because they're both on a train, right?
So unfortunately, you're just gonna have to take my word. But anyone who watched SourceFed back in the day in the anime community knows that was like shared around.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm trying to build up the timeline in my head. So you're in SourceFed for how long were you?
I was there for, let's see, I was an intern first, which was 2012. I was a actual host in 2014. I was there for 2 years, but I was there for 3 years, but it felt like much longer.
Well, it sounds like a really important part of like the career.
Absolutely, yeah. And I also did a lot of things with them afterwards, so it kind of really did feel much longer than that.
Yeah. And so the reason why you left is obviously because it did just get wiped.
Well, I left before that.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is such a strange thing. I never talked about it before, but my everything went into our gaming channel, me and Steven Subtix, and we were doing so well, and then they canceled it anyway, and I was so heartbroken. And when they dissolved, they just said that there was no budget for it, which is such a, I know.
To Let's Play? Like what? Like they buy the game on Steam. Like what?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
We don't have $10 for the Steam game.
Yeah. But I must say, Subtic did spend over $2,000 on CSGO cases once. Using the company card, and we wrote it off, and it was like okayed. That's their fault. They should have just told us it wasn't
hilarious.
Okay.
That is such an epic gamer move.
Yeah, I know. And he got like the fucking butterfly knife.
Yes!
So like whatever. But anyway.
Okay.
Well, yeah, they said there's no budget, and there's like a lot of like production reasons behind it. But then because the whole channel was dissolved, and I was a OG like host for that time, they brought me back into SourceFed Nerd and SourceFed proper instead of like outright laying me off. But they laid off Suptic, and I was like so weird about that, but I also needed money to survive in LA, so there was not much I could do about it. And then when I left, Suptic got hired again as like a SourceFed proper member.
What?
I know, so strange. Yeah. And that's when I kind of realized something was super, super wrong with the entirety of the company. Not that there's anything wrong with Steve, but the fact that
letting
like,
someone go and then bringing them back in later is really bizarre.
and then like it almost felt like they were like trying to separate us so that we wouldn't try something on our own, but then we did. But then we did. So that didn't work. But yeah, that was like a major thing. Also, Discovery like owned our face and soul for X amount of years according to our contract because we were an ensemble cast. Yeah.
Oh, God.
So that was also, I'm suspecting that was also why they maybe wanted to keep us separate so that our faces wouldn't be together on another thing that we created on our own.
Because you and Steve, I guess, almost created like a brand for your own.
Yeah, we ended up like kind of doing that, which was amazing. But also, I do think that probably was dangerous for the company and for the shareholders maybe. But
because the thing about big companies hiring YouTubers to do videos for the company is that the audience end up being loyal to the host and the personality because they're the heart and soul of the show. So even if they leave, you've already created a brand for yourself, right? And yeah, I mean, it fucking is pretty scummy that that stuff like that happens.
It sucks. Like now, having been in the industry in many different ways, like as an independent YouTuber, as somebody that's hired by bigger companies, like it's entertainment media, new media, old media, it kind of can't be helped right now. I think it's starting to improve or maybe change in a way that's beneficial to independent creators, especially with YouTube and Twitch and everything like that. But it's still very difficult. Like the biggest chunk of money that's solid is definitely still in the hands of bigger companies. So that does definitely kind of sway.
Yeah, what I wanted to know is you've obviously you got involved in this by being an intern for Philly D. Yeah. Is that the job that you wanted? Like, did you want to work in YouTube?
I was a fan, and I was just watching him, and I was watching some of SourceFed, and I was. What was I doing? Oh yeah, I was an apprentice pastry chef in New Jersey. Yeah, I know. After having graduated from
Is that what you wanted to do though?
This is so weird. I knew I was good at it. It sounds so pretentious. I don't mean it to be, but I knew I was good at it.
I mean, you became an apprentice, right? So I guess it makes sense.
And
just own it, Reina. Just own it. I was fucking amazing.
I was like really good at it. I was making wedding cakes, and I actually made Japan Airlines first class desserts for a year.
Damn.
Yeah, that was me.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, she was pretty fucking good at it.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
So I was doing that, but I didn't like it because you have to go to work at 2 a.m.
Right.
And then you're out at like 12, 1 p.m. But it's, I don't know, like I got kind of depressed, I think. Not like actually depressed, but I was not well.
That doesn't really leave you much time to do anything. Because obviously you need to sleep, right?
Right. So you try to sleep during the day, but that's, I don't know, like I was like younger,
wants to do
right?
stuff,
Yeah, I was younger and I was like, I want to like party and play and do all these things. So I don't think it was just, it made a lot of sense for me at the time. And then my now husband, but then roommate / boyfriend, and I were like, let's just do something crazy. And we moved to LA, and I just we actually auditioned together. I got it. He did it.
This episode is sponsored by Ritual.
We deserve to know what we're putting in our bodies and why, especially when it comes to something we take every day. Ritual's clean, vegan-friendly multivitamin is formulated with high-quality nutrients in bioavailable forms your body can actually use.
Gentlemen, let me tell you what you won't find in Ritual. Sugars, GMOs, major allergens, synthetic fillers, and artificial colorants.
No way.
Can you believe it?
No.
Plus, the fresh taste and delayed release capsule design makes taking your vitamins easy.
Holy fuck. Why am I not taking these already?
Ritual is made traceable. You'll always know what nutrients you're taking and where they come from thanks to Ritual's one-of-a-kind visible supply chain.
Crazy.
I love when I know the things that I put into my mouth.
So get those key nutrients today without the BS. Ritual is offering our listeners 10% off during your first 3 months. Visit ritual.com/trashtaste to start your ritual today. Back to the episode.
So you auditioned with your husband?
Yeah, and I got it, and it kind of mesmerized me as a fan, being able to be on the opposite side of it and being the intern that like researches stuff.
Yeah.
And I do believe that there was a lot of like political stuff going on at the time, so I was also re-educated, which was really interesting for me, having been out of college already. I was like, oh, this is so much fun. There's so much to learn. And then Phil wanted me to be on camera, and I was like, no way. Like, you want me to bring in these sexy girls?
I thought you'd never ask.
Yeah, I was like, I was here to do that. That was my plan.
Wow.
Yeah, so I really started as a fan, for lack of a better term. I wasn't like an obsessive fan, but there wasn't.
I mean, I don't think he would have hired you if you were an obsessive.
I know, he would have like smelled it right away.
Smelt the danger.
So what came after SourceFed then?
After SourceFed, I went straight to Crunchyroll.
Were you just given an offer, or?
Yeah, I was given an offer, and I was actually given an offer while I was at SourceFed, and I was like, "Oh no, I didn't hear that. Like, nothing happened." But then after I left, we had like a clean break with SourceFed. They knew I was so distraught over the gaming channels, and they were like, "No, like, please, we don't want you to like go postal, so just like leave." So I went to Crunchyroll, and it was actually a lot of fun, but I ended up shouldering a lot of the production. I thought it was going to be more like SourceFed, where there's a crew and I would have some production say, but they hired me as talent / producer, so I guess I should have been expecting more of that responsibility, but it was really ragtag, and like, you know, what you were saying before, Garnt, about the anime community. Crunchyroll has a very aggressive anime community. Both a good thing,
we know, don't worry.
Yeah, and it's like both a good thing and a bad thing, because some people are fans of the company that just want the company to do well, but then there are people that are like criticizing it, which makes sense too. The company should do better, right? Like, there's a lot of kind of factors to it where you can't really get mad at the whole situation. Yeah. And it was hard answering all of that, right? Like, it was hard to. Like,
I feel like you got an impossible job. You know.
Thank you so much. That means so much to me. Can you say it one more time so I can like lock it in? Just one more time.
You had an impossible job.
Oh, thank you. I needed that.
The words that she wants to hear. Gamers.
The 5 words.
You don't even understand.
5 words that make you do this.
I mean, you know, you were just like a martyr for Crunchyroll.
Yeah, honestly.
Like, when I, you know, every time I saw Crunchyroll videos, you know, I think because everyone just has that air of skepticism towards Crunchyroll, unfortunately. You know, and you know, we've worked with Crunchyroll, you know, and I think we've also been skeptical of Crunchyroll, but I think the viewers especially love dogging on Crunchyroll. So.
I mean, Crunchyroll could have.
They're the boogeyman.
Yeah, Crunchyroll could have hired like fucking Jesus Christ, you know.
Keanu Reeves,
or Keanu Reeves. same thing, right? And people would find problems with them. You know?
I feel Crunchyroll fans, like, not Crunchyroll fans, but Crunchyroll haters, quote unquote, to like kind of get a little too over obsessive with criticizing Crunchyroll to the point where it's like, okay, I get it. Like, yes, it's not a perfect company. They have a lot of stuff to work on, but give them a fucking break.
Oh, that means a lot.
Like, Jesus Christ. Like, and especially, like, again, it's like you had that impossible job of like, because I feel all of the arrows were like pointed towards you, right? Because you were literally the face.
Now they have a face.
Yeah, now they have a face and person to point at, right? And I just felt really fucking bad that you were at that point.
I remember you lined me. You sent me messages being like,
I would like send you messages being like, are you okay? Because like, if I were you, I would not be able to fucking handle that.
Yeah, I remember actually, I very, very specifically and vividly remember one of your messages where you're like, hey, are you, and it was like, so, you were being so careful with me. You're like, are you okay? Like, I saw the last video, like, it's not your fault. I was like, oh, you know what? I'm not reading the comments anymore.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm like, I think I'm okay.
I was just like a warning call to be like, don't read the comments.
Yeah.
Like, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Like,
and it was so weird because I don't want to mention specifically what video, but they weren't even mad at me. It wasn't me that they were mad at. They were just mad at something else that was happening, which was ad related, and they pushed it onto the video, and then it kind of like turned into its own monster.
It was a sticky situation.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's the weird thing. They're not even mad at me. Like, I didn't know how to feel about it, right? Like, if they're not hating on me, but I'm also the face, so they're like, fuck you and your face in these ads. I'm like, that's not my bad. Like,
it's the weirdest kind of hate to get as a content creator, I feel.
Yeah,
where it's like, it's not your fault, but fuck you.
Yeah, they're like, I'm so sick of seeing your face every 5 seconds. Like, while I'm watching Attack on Titan, I was like, I'm not even sorry. Like, so yeah, that was interesting. Yeah. But again, because they weren't really necessarily angry at me as a person, again, I had that like veil of protection where I'm like, it's okay. Right. They hate my company that I work for and represent with my face, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, another question I wanted to ask you as well is like, you've obviously done a lot of hosting and everything like that. It seems like you just kind of got thrown into it, you know, starting with Phil and SourceFed. Did you ever go through any training, or was it just something you learned on the job, how to present?
I must say the internship taught me everything.
Right.
As an intern, you did so much. Just like
Ashley is back there.
So like I see him taking notes, like, you know, there's so much to
You're
be
doing
done.
good, Ashley. You're doing good.
Fantastic.
He's just doing his uni work. It's got nothing to do.
Never mind. But you know, you had to do so much, especially back in the day. Like I learned cameras, I learned audio, I learned editing, I learned research, metadata, everything. I learned how to backwards engineer like some of the algorithm because it was much simpler back in the day. And then I actually worked for an advertising/gaming company for a little bit where they put me on camera because they just needed somebody, and I just happened to be a fast reader and I was good at reading the prompter. So that's where I kind of got my practice, so to speak. But the bread and butter of my technical knowledge definitely came from the internship, and then I got to practice being like a face and like talking on camera and doing pauses or reading really fast or making sure the video cuts at 2 minutes kind of thing. And then SourceFed came about, and I just like knew what I was doing. So yeah.
God, I wish I was as like natural as you. As being a YouTuber for 13 years now, I still get a camera pointed in front of me, and if I don't have you guys next to me, I'm just like, hi guys, smash the like button.
Oh my God,
I'm just so miserably fucking British. So like, anytime I have to like fake being happy, everyone knows I'm not like that. Like when I'm like, yo guys, everyone's like, Connors, why are you faking it?
Yo, guys.
Your mouth is smiling.
Hi guys, and
your eyes say death.
Let me tell you about this great show, and everyone's just like, why is Connor talking about that?
The trick is drinking like 3 Red Bulls beforehand.
That doesn't sound sustainable.
No, it's not. And like you sweat through all your clothes, but it works. Like you can mimic that excitement.
The Reina Scully method.
Yeah, 3 Red Bulls.
Just destroy your heart.
Yeah,
that's how you do it.
But you'll look good on camera. Just like hide those armpits, and you're good.
That's the same thing as just saying like, you know what I do? Do a line of coke right before I start.
There are some people though that when they smile, you're like, nice, and then there's people like me where it's like, whoa. What the fuck? I feel like when you smile on camera, it looks like a real person smiling.
Really?
Right? Yeah, what do you mean? You know what I mean? You just see someone, you're like, that looks like a real smile. And other people, you know when Gaunt smiles too much, I'm like, what the fuck? But I feel like the same for me. When people see me smile, like, what's going?
There is a trick about like smiling with your eyes where you like kind of want to squint like this.
Is that weird?
It's the these eyes
Yes,
in anime.
yeah, that's what like you do that, and then you put up.
Yeah, see, like Connor's like.
Connor, you look like someone's holding you at gunpoint. Like,
I am.
Smile, motherfucker, smile.
Hi guys, welcome to Trash Taste. Connor here.
Everyone knows you're genuine.
If you just cut out like this half, it just looks like you're doing
murder.
This is what I get it. I hate it when I live stream. I wish I was a VTuber sometimes, Max, because then people don't ask you. You look tired, Connor. I always look fucking tired.
That's
you look
rude.
You look angry, Connor. Like I'm British. I'm always angry. my face is naturally angry.
To
right?
be fair though, like, you know, so many of like your fans and even you yourself were like, I have a really serious resting bitch.
I do. It looks.
I never noticed it up until you pointed that out.
I do though now. Like.
Yeah, now I look at it, I'm like, it is
I don't know, maybe.
Reina, what do you think?
I mean, I don't really think so, but that's because, you know, I watch her streams a lot.
Oh,
I
get
learn
out of
a
here,
lot. Yeah, I'm really creepy.
What?
I
You
don't
never told me. You literally just Reina walked into the studio. Like, I've watched your live streams, and I'm like, how many?
like a lot.
What? That's so
Hey,
embarrassing.
you come chill.
Just
pops
say
up on
something.
Oh my god. Yeah. Why don't you tell me? Hey, Reina here.
First of all, your chat's bananas, right? So like, I'm not gonna jump into that. But I don't know. I mean, you know what? I was discouraged by Joey.
What?
because
why am I always like?
No, I watch all your streams, by the way, because I'm creepy like that. But no, I watch yours quite often. But when you jumped on for like the first time in like maybe 2 months or something, and I was like, "Aki-chan to kaminoke sokkuri de kawaii," and you answered it without realizing in Japanese.
I didn't realize it was her.
It was me. And then I said something else like not Sumabura, not like I want to play Smash Brothers or something. I said something gaming related, and then you answered that too, and you didn't realize it was me.
No, because like especially recently, I've had people because every time. Because I kind of advertise my streams as like I can also speak Japanese.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like I get.
I thought I was helping you.
Yeah, no. Every now and then, every now and then I get like maybe like 5 per stream, maybe like 5 to 10 like full-on Japanese people typing in my chat, and I always reply back in Japanese. I thought you were just one of those people.
You know what? I'm not even gonna lie.
Wait, is your screen name not Reina Scully?
It's Reina Scully. and
I didn't read it.
And what's funny is like I know that about you, about like you say like live from Tokyo, and it's like Japanese and English, right? So I was like, oh, I bet he wants to talk Japanese.
Yeah, of course I do.
So I purposefully wrote in Japanese.
Yeah.
You answered me for like 5 minutes, and you didn't realize it was me, and then you answered me again.
I think I was like real. I forgot what I was playing, but I was probably like really intensely into the game. So I was
you
just
weren't playing a game.
Was I not? Alright, never mind then.
I must have been tired. You weren't tired.
You just woke up.
I must not have saw that. You literally said Reina Scully.
You didn't realize it was me.
Wow.
You know what? No
But
excuses.
next time I'll say
All right,
something.
thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
What-
Wait, is that you saw my cringy Japanese?
No, I didn't see
Okay,
that,
okay,
but
thank God, thank
I
God.
watched. You were really complaining about something in one of the
Was I?
streams, and it was so funny.
What was I complain? I complain about a lot of things. That's just me. I think.
I forgot what it was specifically, but I don't know. It was really funny. How do you make the camera zoom in like that when?
I can teach you that. It's
It's,
easy.
it's called a stream deck.
It's like yeah, I could.
I've only ever streamed on behalf of a company, so I had like people taking
Random.
care
Well,
of
you
it.
were telling me the
So-
other day that you want to get into Twitch, right?
I really do.
It's
I
super
really
easy.
do.
I mean, you could do it
Easily.
You seem like you're a personality that was like made for Twitch. I'll be honest.
Oh my god, I really want to, but again, I've only ever streamed for other companies or other people, so I've never had to like do all the technical stuff myself, and I'm really afraid because once at SourceFed, we left the stream on and we didn't do anything, but it was just on for like hours and hours, like overnight, like lights went dark and the camera was still on.
Oh my god.
They probably thought of some like meta ARG or something. Like, oh my god, they're telling us something.
You know, that would have been so cool, but
Yeah.
no, we're not that clever. We're just dumb enough to leave the camera on. And like the whole thing was on, like streamed fully and stuff.
right.
And then when one of our editors went home, he was like, like, what the fuck? And then he like went back and turned it all off.
Yeah, it's
trauma.
pretty hard to do that.
I know.
honestly.
Yeah, especially from your home, right?
Yeah, because I mean, like, it's literally because like it's your PC. You know it. I'm when I'm done streaming, I'm probably gonna still be at the PC, so I'm probably gonna like look
Yeah.
at so it's
Yeah.
really it's really.
No, I know. It's like an
We'll
irrational fear.
we'll help you. We'll help you. We're fine.
Yeah, we'll help you.
Oh my god, my heart. I also realized that like on Twitch, it's so much more fun to watch people that are streaming with other people, co-streaming and playing a game together,
Not
like Among
always.
Us and stuff. And I'm like, I want.
No, not always. That's not true.
I
That's not
feel
true.
it
I
works
want
both
friends.
ways. I feel it works
Friends
both
are
ways.
good.
I
I-
think like for half the people, for me, it kind of goes both ways because it's like sometimes there are some people who watch Twitch streamers because they want to interact with the actual person, right?
Yeah.
But if your favorite streamer is playing with another streamer or like playing with another person, most of the time they're not paying attention to the chat as often
Right,
as if they're
right.
on their own.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
they're like, well, what the fuck? Like I came all this way. I'm hanging out in the chat. I want your attention.
Acknowledgement,
Yeah,
yeah.
I want your acknowledgement.
That's,
right?
yeah, it's like I think like once you do it, you stream enough, your chat will understand if you're playing with someone that you'll probably not be paying attention to the
Right,
chat.
right. And you'll like
It's like
cultivate
yeah, it's
that
like 50-50
audience.
for me. I read if I'm playing alone, I read the chat. If I'm not, if I'm playing with someone else, I kind of ignore the chat.
Yeah.
I watched your stream with, I think it was Iron Mouse.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I loved that one. That was so much fun. Yeah.
Iron Mouse is crazy. She's great though.
Well, is there like anything you'd like want to do if you start doing Twitch? Like, do you want to play games? Do you want to just do like a just chatting?
You know, I miss playing games. I miss playing games like for the purpose of being on camera. So I do. probably 50-50.
Reina Scully streams coming soon.
Oh my god, thank you. But yeah, I think I just want a different platform than YouTube right now. That's really what it is. I'm a little bit sick of making YouTube videos. We all feel it. Don't be like, oh no, like.
It depends on how my morning goes. You know, some days I'm like, fuck, I don't want to do this. So days I'm like,
it also depends on the YouTube idea. Some of them are literally just like, okay, here's the grind. I'm gonna just grind it out. Yeah. Some projects you're excited for, but it very much depends.
Yeah, I think it really is just like a pandemic world thing. I used to make a lot of videos going out and going to Tokyo, hanging out with Joey, like doing a bunch of things and with like my friends in Tokyo. And I don't like, I think, I don't like shooting from my house because I don't want to accidentally like reveal where I am exactly. Like I'm in the countryside, so it's a little bit hard to figure out where I am, but like just in case it's a little bit freaky and you know, you're like, I guess like your inspiration is kind of limited when you're just doing it from home by yourself.
I mean, someone got very close to finding where I live right now.
Oh,
how? Did I tell you this?
No.
So like there was like a barcode that was like roughly like shown for like a second in one of my videos from one of the packages I opened.
Right.
And they went around like texting people being like, I know where Connor lives. And then what happened was that even though this barcode was barely visible, somehow like you can barely, it's in the background and somehow it's scanned. When you put the scanner to it.
That's what you meant? I didn't understand.
Yeah. So like when you get a Japanese package, there's I think any package, there's always a barcode on it.
Yeah. Right.
And this was like in the background of the shot, and someone somehow scanned it. I have no idea how they got it, like the fidelity high enough. Yeah, I have no idea.
I was thinking. They literally did the enhance.
Because I found where it was, and I was like, it didn't even work when I was doing it. So I don't understand how they managed to pull it off. Because then they were going around sending me a screenshot, you know, like, I know where you live, Connor. And then, so I looked at the thing, and luckily Japan Post only told my postcode, which is still not good. But I was like, all right.
No, it's only a postcode.
I'm like, so I was like,
close though.
I was like, all right, what are you going to do? Come to this giant ass place with all these like 10-story apartments?
Knock on every door.
I'm like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Find my apartment? I'm like, I would gamble even if you found a building I lived in. I'm like, I'd still feel safe, honestly. I'm like, try and find the door. Don't try and find the door. But like, I mean, you know, it was very concerning. Yeah, so be careful with barcodes.
Yeah. I had no idea that was a thing. So now,
fuck that person going around being like, this is so cool. I have Connor's address. I think.
Don't be like that. Don't do that.
But it's whatever. I mean, I was like, all right, cool. You're a loser. Why would you see a barcode in the video thing? I'm gonna scan that. I'm gonna fucking try and scan that.
I love you.
That's what. I love him so much. I must find out where he lives.
I must dox him. That's how much I love him.
Yeah.
I probably have cockroaches in my apartment. Why would you want to find out where I live? I don't know.
Because he loves you and your cockroaches.
Everything about you. All of you.
God, that's so fucking creepy.
Yeah, it was.
That sucks.
Yeah, but I mean, where you live, though, it's probably really safe, though.
It is, except we just had a stabbing.
What? First one in 100 years, or?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It never happened, so it freaked everybody out. But yeah,
was this like national news?
It was definitely like.
Did they die?
It was like Shizuoka. Yeah,
it was like professional.
Oh shit! I thought
like Shizuoka news. Yeah, and it makes no sense. But then a whole week later, he didn't get caught, and everybody forgot. So there's that.
Wow.
Okay.
But that's a misnomer. That's not a good representation of my like hometown. It's very lovely and quaint and wonderful.
That's like where I grew up there. I remember when someone died when I was like 18, they were like, yeah, it's the first death in this area in like 25 years. Like murder.
Jesus.
Right. It's a big deal when it normally doesn't happen.
Yeah, in like tiny towns, yeah.
Well, that's the thing with like, especially like Japan, right? It's like, there's either no crime or like fucking
fucked,
like World War III.
Yeah. It's definitely, there's no like medium anywhere.
No.
But I'm also, I lived in LA for like 8 years where
but
everybody was shot like, everywhere at all times.
Dude, like I remember the first time
someone got stabbed. Oh, it's never happened in LA.
I remember the first time I went to LA. It was the first anime expo I went to, and I remember like first morning I woke up in the hotel, right, and it's one of those like radio clocks, so like the alarm goes off, right, and then the radio starts playing, right, being like, it's
the alarm.
Yeah, as the alarm, right. And I thought that was really cool because like I'd only ever seen that in movies.
Oh my.
So because like I was like, okay, you know what, like this is a feature. I'm just gonna do it for this one morning and see if it's like cool or anything, like because I don't know. I never had anything like that in Australia, right, or Japan. So I was like, this might be cool. So like alarm goes off at like 8 a.m. or something. Radio starts up. It's like it's a beautiful morning here in Los Angeles. Last night we had 3 shootings happening down in the downtown area, but it's a lovely summer day today. Have a good one, everyone. I was like, all right, I'm turning that off.
Still at large. Yeah.
Like, I don't want to go outside right now.
Mind the helicopters finding the suspects that are still at large. Yeah, that happened. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
There's always a helicopter shining like spotlights down everywhere at all times.
Yeah.
It was almost pretty.
Just trying to go to like 7-Eleven, your own personal spotlight.
Don't go to 7-Eleven. You don't do that.
That's where it all happens.
Yeah, that's where it happens.
What if I want a big gulp? Jeez.
No. It'll be the last thing you ever drink.
It's
Oh my
Slurpee
God.
Thursday.
Oh my God.
Is that a thing?
I think it's something like that, right?
Thirsty Oh, I don't. Is
Thirsty
it?
Thursday or something like
Well,
that.
Thirsty
We're not
Thursday is like a
American.
college thing where like everybody gets fucked up on Thursday and nobody goes to class on Friday.
So, sorry, going back to the whole career thing, what happened after Crunchyroll? I'm curious.
After Crunchyroll,
Is that where you started your own YouTube channel?
Actually, I was kind of doing stuff on SourceFed because I felt like it was such a waste to not be doing something on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And in my head, I was like, eventually, if I leave, like I'll have something to fall back on.
I think everyone at
So-
SourceFed already had like their own main channels.
Yeah, they did. We were encouraged to do it to kind of like also solidify your brand as a on-camera host.
Oh, so they were helping you build up a way to leave them?
Well, I don't think they realized it because we actually had to sign over our channel in the beginning. And
Your personal channels?
Yeah, we had to sign it
Yeah,
over.
so they owned that as well.
Yeah.
What, just for like a normal paying job, like a wage? Did you get any like buyout fee for that? Or any?
Oh, dark, I know. But I don't think I was a monetizable partner channel until like 6 months into SourceFed, and then I started caring that like they were taking my money.
I signed it off. Fuck.
Like, you're taking my money. But also monetization was different back in the day. There were no mid rolls, right? Like so there was only like a pre roll and barely.
But
ever a
also the money
post-roll.
was way more. The CPM.
CPM was way higher.
massive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was not happy, but because like I can't do what I did on Super Panic Frenzy on my own. I wouldn't be able to hire Suptic. Like that wouldn't be able to happen. I didn't have editors. So like I knew kind of what the trade-off was, and I was happy to be doing so. Also the security in being, a hired host is much better. So
Yeah.
I didn't mind, especially because I wouldn't be able to start my channel, I think, from nothing without SourceFed. Very
Right.
aware of that. So
I think
was
you
like,
could. I think no one thinks they can, right? Like
Right.
until you just make something, you're like, oh shit, people want to watch this.
Yeah,
The fuck?
there's literally all 3 of us.
Yeah, like
I think that's like phenomenal. I do not think I would have been able to.
I don't. Did any of you think
none
I'm
of
gonna
us-
I'm
none
gonna
of
make
us-
something?
None of us started YouTube channels like,
I'm
give me a
gonna-
couple of years, I'm gonna be the shit. Like no one's gonna think
I
like
remember like when I uploaded my first YouTube video. After one day, it got 5 views, and I was fucking ecstatic about it. Holy shit! 5 people saw my bleach video.
Like, Mom, you only refreshed it twice, right? That means 3 other people.
That is literally the back in the day where you had to be like, you had to account your own refreshing into the view count. Like you because 100 views, but I've definitely clicked on this at least 20 times. So
So
And I showed this to 20 friends and my mom 5 times. That means there's 55 people out there who thought I was cool.
Isn't that such a wholesome concern where you have to worry about your own views of how much you refresh them?
Yeah.
And back when I used to like all my own videos, because I was like, I need to up the likeage, man. Like it's not enough.
Dude, I'll admit, I still like my own video.
Do you? I
Because it's like, dude, I fucking love this video. I made it. Of course I like this video.
Fucking Obama memes.
Yeah.
Just like
I
putting the
literally
gold
give
medal
myself
around
a medal
yourself.
every time I'm like, damn, Joey, that's a fucking good video.
Joey uploads a video. Hey, who's that guy?
man.
Who's that guy?
He's just got a champagne shelf just for himself. Every video is like Aki popping the champagne.
I'm the complete opposite, right? Because I don't like my own videos, but because Alan edits my videos, right? So sometimes there's a joke where he has to screenshot my own video, and he always likes it. And sometimes I get comments being like, "Oh, why did Giga likes his own fucking videos?"
Well, I mean, of course you do. Because you're proud of the video.
you should be proud of the video.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's not my place to like. You know?
Yeah.
I just.
But you're your own account. You have the ability to like it. Granted, I don't either. I only like ones when
What?
I'm sorry. I've only liked ones where I collabed with people, right? Like, so, like, if Joey and I do a video, I'll like that for myself.
So you want Joey to be like, Joey, look at all these likes. This is crazy. This is one more than normal.
Oh my god.
So sorry, you were saying about how you didn't think you could do your own channel.
Okay, so I've been doing it, and then they gave it back to me because I think they were afraid for me or of me maybe when I left.
I mean, rightly so.
Companies aren't normally known for going back on contract.
And kind of owning individuals. You know, that's kind of scary.
Actually, we had a new like executive head person that undid all of that even before I left because he was like, "That's fucked up." Like, no, these people like they would be fine. So he undid that, and I left. It was just worked out perfectly. The timing was good. And then I left. I did Crunchyroll, and that was when my own personal channel was doing quite well, probably because they wanted to hear me talk shit about SourceFed.
Right.
But also, like, I had like some nice people watching, and they were like migrated over to my channel, which was really nice. And then, I announced that I was going to Crunchyroll, so they're like, oh, like it's going to be even more anime centric, or like we get to now hear her talk shit about Crunchyroll, I guess. So that's kind of the direction
Scully,
it went.
why I left Crunchyroll.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to do
Honestly,
that. I didn't.
Why not? You could, dude. I've seen those videos where it's why I left this company, and the video's like, I was just kind of done. They're a nice company, though, great guys, but I was done. And then it's like
10
a million
million
views.
views.
Yeah. You should have done that.
I mean, I should have. There was Crunchyroll was a little bit of a different breakup. It wasn't like aggressive or anything like that. It's just I still wanted to work adjacent around them, and also because they're so deeply embedded in the Japanese anime community, and I went to like every industry mixer thing that happened in Japan, which was like really scary. Still, I mean, back in the day it was way scarier, but they like knew me as a Japanese person, and I did like voice acting too already, so I didn't want to damage anything, and I was afraid that even if it wasn't anything negative, if I did kind of like a why I left Crunchyroll thing, then maybe companies would distrust me a little bit.
Because you're openly talking about your experience.
Yeah, and Japanese companies like totally frown upon that, so I was like, let me not talk about that at all ever again. Clean break. But then I was doing a lot of things with Rooster Teeth and Steve.
That's right.
Oh yeah, that was a thing.
What haven't you done, Reina, at this point? Just name. Let's stop naming companies you haven't worked for.
In the nerd world, I did corner the good markets, right? I did gaming, anime, and then I'm just like, I don't know, I'm Asian. Like,
Reina Scully, professional Asian.
Skill set Japanese.
It's a skill set.
No, that
right?
is.
It really
is. But yeah, I feel like I cornered those markets really well to my advantage. So I was doing a lot of hosting, and also like we had the podcast, the Boys Only Club podcast and stuff, and that was really doing well. Steve was doing really well with Sugar Pine 7, so I kind of was like, oh, we could totally do this independently, like we don't need a company ever again. But yeah, and then I moved to Japan because I was like, I'm so sick of LA. Like, just truly sick of LA.
LA is hard.
It's hard.
LA seems very intense.
It is. Now that I've been out of it, and maybe I'm kind of like poisoned ex post facto from like maybe COVID, but I do miss LA. I miss visiting. I missed the hustle. It really is Neverland. Like, I genuinely feel like I did not age when I was in LA. And regardless of being there for 8 years, it felt like I just got there all the time. And I don't know, it was like, it is fun if you can hit a sweet spot, which I did at one point, but once you lose that sweet spot in LA, it's hard, it's expensive, things are really stressful.
Definitely feels weird just going to LA and then just like kind of dipping your toes in that industry just for like 2 weeks and then being like, whoa, okay. This is a lot.
Going to LA and doing anything like industry related there, I feel like, man, I feel like I've done a month's work of like
so intense.
networking and meeting people in that.
AX feels like a month.
Jesus
It
Christ.
does, it really does.
This episode is sponsored by Bokksu, an authentic Japanese snack box subscription that sends you small delicacies from Japan.
Salty, sweet, savory, damn, all that umami. Bokksu has a variety of different types of Japanese snacks for you to try every single month. I didn't write this, Malin wrote this.
Why do you have to say that?
Not only do you get some damn good delicious treats, they include fragrant tea packets for you to brew and pair with the snacks.
So you at home snacking on those toxic artificial food colored American chips, put that down now and get yourself a Bokksu.
Disclaimer, this was written by an American. I mean, look what's inside. Tell us, Joey. What do we have in our box this month?
All right, look. We have Jaga Choco. This is the thing that you
Oh my god, this is what gave me the existential crisis. God, okay. I need to decide now. Once
there's also Happitan as well, which is a snack that I grew up
These are good,
eating.
I
Those
bet
are pretty good. These are good too, actually. The Marugoto Kajitsu gummies.
Hey, this isn't an ASMR podcast. Put that down, Gaunt. Bokksu even partners with Japanese artisan makers to make sure you're getting authentic flavors. That's cross-cultural food pollination. That's in the script. Anyways, the folks over at Bokksu have hooked Trash Taste viewers up with an awesome deal. Use our link and code TRASHTASTE10 in the description to get 10% off your own Bokksu today. You can save up to $47. And don't forget that repeat customers will get a themed box every month. So what are you waiting for? Start snacking different today. Back to the video.
So how long have you been in Japan now? You moved...
This will be my 3rd year in
Only
Japan.
3?
Yeah, I know. It feels like longer.
It feels like you were here before I moved.
No, that's
Did you ever live in
crazy.
Japan before? Or was this the...
I was here until I was born here, and then I was here until I was 3, and then I would come back every summer and winter, and I'd go to Japanese school during that time.
wow.
I never had summers off. It's really sad.
Wait, so you had a holiday where you'd go on holiday and go to school on holiday?
Yes, it was dark. It's messed up.
That's Japan for you.
That's Japan. Yeah, that is Japan.
That's
for
literally
you.
Son, you're going to love this. I've booked you for another 6 weeks of school. You're going to love it.
Yeah, so in the end, I would get like maybe 2 weeks of summer vacation. But like winter, there's no school.
So
right?
when you were watching like Phineas and Ferb, right, and like talking about all these days of vacation, that's a fucking lie.
It was heartbreaking because like I'd watch all these other cartoons that were like, oh, summer vacation,
3 months.
summer camp, blah blah blah, and I'm like, what is that? God, what is that?
It's like, who has time to camp when I have to finish my math homework?
I was like, wait, I have this kanji test. Like I have 4 kanji tests coming up. Like what's the break?
So how long did you do that for? Until what age?
Until middle school. Until end of middle school. So I graduated middle school and then
14? 13?
13, yeah. And then when high school came around, my parents and I got together and they were like, do you want to go for a Japanese university or an American university? Like, where do you want to like end up?
Right.
And at the time I was like, America, duh. 'Cause, like, there's this boy I have a crush on. Like, I'm gonna be here forever. So also, like, I only knew of Japan during the summer and winter, so I was very conscious that, like, I don't know how to live in Japan. Like, I don't know
Well, yeah, because you
that's about.
experienced the 2 extremes, right?
Yeah, and I was like, this isn't fun. Like, well, it was. But I was very aware that I don't know how to live in Japan. So, and also my English was way more superior than my Japanese, even after all that schooling. Maybe I'm just dumb. But yeah, so I decided I wanted to go to an American university. So that allowed me to drop all of my Japanese stuff because, you know, in America, like you study for the SATs and you prepare really hard. So yeah, that's what happened. And then 20 years later, I moved back to Japan.
Wow.
Full circle.
Yeah. I never, ever in my life thought I would want to be living in Japan.
Was it how you imagined it to be?
Well, you know, it sucks because the first year I moved, so I moved like towards the end of 2018. 2018 into end of 2019 was phenomenal. It's exactly how I envisioned it.
Yeah.
Work was flowing in the way I needed it to and the way it made sense.
Yeah.
I was going back and forth between the US and Japan, like doing hosting gigs here and there. So everything like kind of tied together in harmony. And then, you know, I keep bringing it up, like, I can't help it. COVID hit, and now everything is so dislodged. And again, like I said before, I'm just trying to stay relevant so that I can have that back. I can have that rhythm and harmony back.
Yeah.
And so now it feels more like a trying to stay relevant catch-up game. And it's a little bit weird, but I'm sure it's weird for everybody. Like, it was a mess. It's been a mess of a time.
I mean,
Literally just
I
moved
can't
here
judge
and
it.
then it happened.
I feel like I've only had a collective, like, experience of moving here for about like 4 months.
I get
because
it, yes.
that's the amount of time I've stayed here before COVID hit. So
Totally.
I don't really feel like my journey in Japan has like started yet.
I feel really bad for you guys, honestly, because it's like, yeah, again, as you said, like, you guys have been here for almost 2 years now. but it just feels like I feel like you've barely gotten to experience like what it's like. Right?
I think I'm very lucky that I ended up in the one country where it wasn't affected too heavily.
Yeah, obviously, appreciate that.
Yeah. Obviously, you know, it was kind of bad here, but you know, we were able to keep doing this podcast. We were able to like go outside. Like it was like, you know, whereas in the UK, it was like no one is allowed to leave your house at all, and they were really strict about it.
Right.
So I was like pretty glad. I feel like I kind of escaped, but then also on the other hand, it's like I feel super isolated here.
Yeah,
like you know, it doesn't help with the time zones. It's completely different, so you barely get to talk to people on other time zones. You know, so it's kind of.
I think this is the first ever time I've ever like felt homesick, and I don't normally feel like homesick, but it was just more like, man, just you know, not being able to see my family and my friends. That's different from like, you know, knowing that I can see them whenever I like.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, I feel that, and you know, this is technically my home, like my second home. Like I haven't been able to see my family here for like over a year now.
Really?
Yeah, just because we agreed as a family to like not see each other until COVID was over. Because like last thing I want to do is give my cousin COVID.
Of course.
So it's like that would be fucked. So
I'm curious, was there any like big reason, or is it like a turning point that made you think like we're moving to Japan?
Well, the timing factor is that I was just really sick of LA, but also during the year that I decided to move here, I was going back and forth to Japan a lot, and it made me miss every time I came back. My wanting to live here would just
miss Japan.
It would just get like deeper and intense. And then you know, I never grew up with my family at all. It was always like my parents are divorced, and my mom raised me alone in a foreign country. It seems weird saying America is my foreign country, but it is. And like, I was never a citizen. I was an immigrant. I'm a green card holder in America. I'm a Japanese national.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm like a hard Japanese national.
Damn,
so
okay.
Until I married my American husband, I was never actually an Asian American. So
Right.
in a way, I was like, I don't know if I belong here. Like, I know I fake it, and maybe that's like just kind of like worked its way into my actual personality. But I'm like, my Japanese soul wants to be with my family. And my cousin had her first baby, and I was watching her grow up from LA, and it like kind of broke my heart, because I'm like, the new generation has started, right? And I'm like, I can't even be there for that. Like, I missed the previous generation, and like, you know, like my second cousins are, one of them just graduated college, and I didn't get to watch her grow up when I used to babysit her when she was a baby, and in the summers, in between kanji tests, and and I don't know, like as I aged, I really felt like I would be so angry at myself if I didn't take this opportunity right now to at least experience living in Japan as a Japanese person and being around my family. And then it actually did, like, the timing was insane because COVID had happened. But then, unfortunately, my grandfather was like diagnosed with cancer, but I was there for him, and that's all I wanted. Like, it would have killed me. It would have killed me if I couldn't be here for them, you know? And in a way, like, first of all, like, he was old as fuck. Like, it's okay. Like, he lived a full ass life, and he smoked like a pack of cigarettes a day. Like, it's fine. But like, the fact that I got to be there, and I don't have to feel like there was this big hole that you know, in my life again, because I lost my grandparents on my dad's side when I was younger, and I was in college, and I couldn't get out of college. I couldn't take time off to go see them. So that was like always such a huge stain in my life. And I was like, this makes so much sense. So
I feel really bad now, because I remember, like, as a kid, right, you'd go to some family reunion, and your parents, well, my parents would introduce me to like this uncle or something, and they'd be like, oh, I remember when you were just a little baby, I held you, I helped raise you up. And I was just like,
who are you?
Thanos, I don't even know who you are. You know? And now that I've had like cousins who, you know, I've had kids, and I've, you know, held them and seen them grow up as well. I know I'm going to say exactly the same thing. And I know I'm going to be that uncle now, and I know the kid is just going to look at me the same way.
You're going to be Uno reverse card.
you must have so much street cred with them, though, because like my cousins and nephews, they all want to be YouTubers. Really? So and they're all I know, right?
It's adorable.
That's why I'm really scared, because like my second cousin here, he just turned like 6 or 7. So like he he's about to like, he's in fucking elementary school.
It's
now,
great.
right?
I love it.
And it's like all elementary school kids here in Japan want to be YouTubers. So I am dreading the day where he figures out that I'm a YouTuber.
No, it's great because
figured it out.
He hasn't figured it out.
You're gonna be
yet.
the cool uncle.
yeah, dude, they
You're gonna be the
love
coolest uncle.
they're like I've never met you before. Who are you? And then like, oh, he's a YouTuber by the way. Like, who is he?
Paying
Who is he?
attention
Which
now.
part of the family is he from again? Sorry, did you play Fortnite as well? By the way,
Default skin. Today.
that's great. No, it's really funny. I know they just immediately like, hello, I'm paying attention.
Unfortunately, a lot of my nieces and nephews didn't take after me. A lot of them are just like jocks who love sports and stuff, and I'm just like, oh,
Can never get a dub, can you? Never get a dub, man. Fuck.
God.
It is crazy though that all the kids want to be YouTubers now. Was it like
Yeah.
35% of Japanese kids want to be YouTubers?
More.
that.
It's way more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was Googling it for the UK as well. I got curious. And there was like YouTuber wasn't on there. It was all like doctor, nurse, something. I'm like, that's bullshit. They didn't
Yeah.
they didn't give these kids the prompt. Give them the prompt. Tell them they can be a YouTuber. I bet they'll do it.
I don't know. It's like being a YouTuber still looked down upon in the UK because I haven't been there for like a long time.
Is it looked down upon in America? Like, would you say it is? Or is it kind of like, oh, that's neat?
I think it's neat.
Yeah.
I think they claim it to be cool and neat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
don't
considered
know.
cool and neat here for the younger generation.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But the older generation are like, that's not a job.
That's not a job.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
And the
not-
problem
There's
with
still some of that in the UK, I think.
Yeah.
and the problem with that notion, especially in Japan, is that the old people who say that are the majority of the people who live here. So it's still considered like, okay, yeah, I guess this is like the new generation job kind of thing, but we'll never fucking understand
In
it.
Japan, I'd say YouTubers receive cred when they go on national television, which it happens a lot in Japan. Like
I've noticed,
the moment like Hikakin, for example, the prime example, started going on the variety shows, that's when everybody's like, wow, that's amazing. And he edits his own videos. He works like 82 hours a week. And I'm like, bitch, that's all of us.
Yeah, I think from the surface level, it's easy to think, what a fucking bunch of weirdos.
Yeah.
But like when you actually see all the work and you can like actually see that they're like talented at what they do.
Yeah.
I mean, not me, but you could really appreciate what's going
It is
into
hilarious
Right,
though
right.
to see like all these like traditionalist like Japanese TV presenters being like, wait, so you're your own editor and your own producer and your own host
Cameraman?
and your own cameraman? Nah, we don't believe that shit.
Can I just go on a quick tangent real quick about Japanese TV because I was
go
watching
Oh,
the other
please
day.
do.
for it.
So you know the whole meme where they react to everything.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they react to everything.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it was this really like I think someone had died, some famous person, and I didn't realize they had a reaction cam for the fucking funeral, and I'm like, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking like, this is how uncomfortable would you be as the host where they're like, react to this guy's death. This guy's crying at the funeral. React, and this is what's going. Like I was like, am I missing? Like I don't want to be rude to maybe I'm missing something, but I'm pretty sure there's nothing like in Japanese culture that is like you should be reacting.
Oh no,
to
no,
that.
like
that's just weird.
I've been
right?
on Japanese TV multiple times. It is corrupt as fuck.
And like
Yeah.
I get what the reaction cam is there, but I think I was just thinking, I'm like, maybe you should like just turn it off for this one story. Like
I've
just
seen
like,
YouTubers get cancelled for less.
yeah, because there's literally just a corner and there's a guy like this like. While like it's just a funeral's playing, and I'm like doing my laundry. I'm like, what the fuck? What is this?
Yeah, it's really
It's a little odd, isn't it? Sorry,
Yeah,
going
yeah.
on to a tangent.
No. So much of Japanese television is really hypocritical to like the Japanese culture itself because like we pose ourselves to be so modest, right? And like private and all that stuff. But then it's like, oh, this person's crying. Zoom in on their face. But then it's like when you're shooting shuzai, like when you're shooting like a interview or something outside, everything is mosaiced in the background,
Yeah.
so you can't like know anything and without
Yeah.
their consent or whatever. It's like there's such a hypocrisy there.
Yeah, the whole like privacy law thing is just fucking ridiculous. Like I remember, oh my god, I fucking remember there was one prime example of like it was like kind of like a panel like this, right? Like a host panel kind of thing. And I guess like one of them had like a water bottle, but the entire water bottle was blurred. Like but there was
Branding.
but there was no logo on it. It was like the shape of the water bottle would insist that it's like a specific brand of water that's not sponsoring the show.
like the Kuro tea or something. Like
Yeah,
the,
yeah,
like,
yeah. It's like, you know how like a lot of
yeah,
my water
yeah,
bottles
yeah,
is like,
yeah.
oh yeah, that's like
Wow.
a Pocari sweat or that's like a whatever.
I guess
so
you kinda
so
know.
their option, blur out the entire fucking bottle. And I'm like, that
makes
just
it stand
looks
out more.
Exactly.
Well,
yeah.
I can't figure out with Japanese TV why they're blurring some things and why they're not. Because sometimes they'll show you shots where nothing's blurred, and then the next shot
It'll be
like,
blurred.
everything's blurred, and it like flips between and I can't figure it out because it's not like in one shot there's branding stuff. Like there's branding, there's people, like, and then it just completely cuts the complete opposite. And I can't figure out why it does it, and it drives me fucking insane.
There's somebody's just slacking.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're like, dude, I'm not going to sit down and mosaic 3 more scenes of this shit.
Dude,
Like, imagine you have to do that frame by frame,
Yeah.
you know.
And then
God.
adding in all of the fucking like subtitles and shit as well. Like, I feel bad for Japanese like TV editors.
Actually, I did something with Pokemon last year before the pandemic really went wild, and they had me mosaic frame by frame every single person at a Lollaport.
Why?
Every single person
How long did that
at
take?
the Pikachu parade.
Oh my God.
Every single man, woman, child, everyone, even the staffers, they had me mosaic. Well,
Why not just mosaic the entire screen at that point?
I know, and just cut out the Pikachu line that's like walking down. Like,
So it's like Pikachu cardboard cutout. Just do this.
I should have just done that. I'm like, it's the same thing, you guys, at the end of the day. But yeah, it was so messed up, and it took hours, and I'm making it sound like I did it. My husband did it. I made him do it.
You know, I was slaving away, watching my husband do the work.
I was waiting for him.
I was waiting for him.
We need
3 Red Bulls.
I think we need more vlogs where people are wearing like the cones for dogs, where you can just only see in the cone. Hey guys, I'm at Disneyland today. Just inside the cone.
Honestly, and it's like, I don't know why they do that for some scenes and they don't do that for others. Because like, there is never a moment on Japanese TV where like everything is blurred out that looks good.
Yeah.
It just looks like shit. It's
looks
like, what am I
ridiculous.
looking at?
Yeah.
Where is this? What the fuck?
A lot of YouTube videos look better than Japanese TV.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I mean-
100%.
But then a lot of their shows are just send a guy with a camera to this place and do the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they can get away with more things, right? Because
Yeah.
I guess if it's a big Japanese company, they really worry about that shit, as we find out quite a lot. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of bureaucracy here. But yeah, I mean, I don't watch too much Japanese TV. I'd rather watch YouTube.
I don't watch Japanese TV.
It's great inspiration. They have like really bizarre ideas. Like there's so many cool TV shows that they have. I don't know which ones I've spoken about on the podcast. Like I swear to God, I don't know what I've spoken about on the podcast.
We talked about quite a few in the last one that we recorded, didn't we?
Did I mention about the TV one where they basically just like go to random people and they're like, hey, we'll pay for your dinner if you take us to your house and show us.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
What?
They would like go outside onsens, wait for the old guys to like finish at the bathhouse at like midnight, and they would be like, hey, take us to your house.
What would they show at the house?
Just like their stuff.
How
And
they live.
How they live, like what they do, like
Is
their
it
story.
fun?
It's kind of interesting, really, because normally, I guess everyone normally has, most people have some kind of interesting story about
Yeah.
why they ended up. And especially, I think, because when you're older, you've lived through a lot of things,
Yeah.
and there's
Yeah,
normally
yeah.
interesting.
Honestly, back when I used to watch a lot of Japanese TV, I got like a lot of inspirations for my YouTube channel off that.
Yeah.
Like literally, like the reason why I do so many like quiz-based videos.
I was just gonna say that.
is
Those are my
pu-
favorites.
It's purely like all of those ideas, I'll fully admit, were taken straight off Japanese
Yeah,
TV.
I was just watching last night. There was like a 3-hour Q-sama special where it's like a quiz god or quiz king or whatever, and it's so fun because they have all these like Tokyo University graduates or like postdoc like candidates or whatever, and they're so brilliant. Like they're all like Mensa geniuses, and they know so much about everything. And like even though they can't like let's say speak English, they know more vocabulary than me, which is like really gross. They're like, oh yes,
Can't speak it, but I know everything.
they're like, oh, I can say mitochondria, like, and I can spell mitochondria.
I know it's the powerhouse of the
cell. And I'm like, really? You knew that in English? Like, it's one thing, but then again, it is kind of like Japanese English, but still,
Yeah.
It's really impressive and it's fun. And the quiz shows are really well done.
To this day,
think.
I think that's like one type of Japanese TV I still watch to this day are the quiz shows.
Yeah,
Yeah, they seem like they're willing to try out ideas more than I think Western TV is. I feel like we're very refined in our ideas. We like to like stick with what works and just only like reiterate on top of it in some way, small iterations at a time. And then there's like weird shows in the UK actually. So
I mean, there's weird show, but it seems like with Japanese TV,
Everything's a weird show.
Everything's a weird show, which is why I guess a lot of this got exported to foreign TV channels. And that's how Japan got its image in the first place, right?
Yeah, I guess like, did you
Totally.
ever watch like the American ports of like Japanese TV shows in America?
No, I was able to watch Fuji TV when I was growing up in Japan.
Oh,
so
really?
it was just in Japanese, so I never really thought anything of it.
So you never
but-
watched like the spin-off of like Silent Library with like all the WWE players in it?
No, wait, what
What?
the fuck? What?
Okay, what
Okay.
What
Okay,
silent
yeah.
library?
So I thought everyone knew this one. So Silent Library is based off like a Japanese TV show. It was actually just one segment of a really famous Japanese TV show called Gaki no Tsukai. It's like really
Yeah,
famous,
yeah.
like going on for like 30 years or something. And there was one segment called Silent Library where it was 5 comedians inside of like a proper like public library, and they would pull out of a hat to do like a bunch of like punishment games that are like either really painful or like really loud or like, you know, get like a reaction out of them. But
Right.
because they're in a public library, they have to be really quiet while doing all of it. So I remember there was one where there was like one of the comedians like gets like fucking slapped in the face by like a sumo wrestler, and he can't make a sound. Like he can't make a reaction sound, and obviously the other comedians can't laugh.
How did
Yeah,
they get
yeah.
the sumo in the sumo rest of the library to slap someone? Just, yeah, just come in the library, slap this dude.
Yeah, but
got paid
but
for
then
that.
Yeah,
but then
true.
I guess like American TV, I forgot which station it was, but American TV took that and replaced the comedians with wrestlers from the WWE. So they
I
were
mean, that
like,
sounds
they were in a
phenomenal.
library.
Yeah.
It was actually really funny because these wrestlers would be in a public library, fucking doing like German suplexes to one another, like just fucking full on, but like all really silently.
And it was still a library, like
Yeah, it was like a proper library. Yeah,
It must have, nah,
It
it
was
must have
just
been.
a
It
sound.
mu-
I mean,
it might
yeah,
have
it
been
must
a
be.
sound.
It must be
Yeah.
fake.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
still, it was like just seeing like all these like
Bizarre, yeah.
fucking massive 6-foot brick shit houses doing German suplexes to one another quietly
yeah.
as possible.
Unfortunately, most British TV shows don't get good adaptations in the US.
Oh, really?
No, because
British humor is weird.
yeah, I feel like the only good adaptation I've seen is The Office.
Office?
Yeah, Office.
And
Yeah.
I would like hazard to call that an adaptation because it's nothing like the British Office.
Yeah.
But they like it was one of the few examples where they took what worked about The Office and did their own version. It's completely different, but it works in a different way.
Yeah.
They still paid homage to it, right? Like,
Yeah,
Yeah, the first season is very similar to the actual Office.
Yeah.
First season's very hard to watch.
Yeah,
compared
exactly.
to-
I
That's
feel
what we
like-
like. That's what we like.
I totally get it. I absolutely understand.
Yeah.
But oh my god, I just skip right past it every single time. I'm like, I can't. I'm so itchy when I watch it. Like,
I love cringe humor. I love cringe humor.
Like
a
don't
lot.
don't get me started about the American version of the In-Betweeners. That is
Oh my God.
probably like a lot of people like to forget that it exists, but it's something that exists.
I didn't even know it existed, to be honest.
Do you know what the In-Betweeners are?
no, I
It's
don't.
this really popular TV show that came out. I think when we were when Gartmore University. I was in like.
No, I was actually in secondary school then.
Were you?
Yeah,
when it
yeah.
started? Oh, it finished when
I
I
was
in
the
sixth
same
form.
age as the characters in the In-Betweeners as it was airing, which is why it was fucking massive when
Yeah, it was huge in the UK. 'Cause it's basically just 4 students, just being like pretty accurate students and just messing up life situations.
Yeah.
And trying to like get girls and stuff and being
Yeah,
fucking
I'd
awful
say
at it.
the
It was just
closest-
really cringe humor.
The closest way I can describe it is like it's American Pie, kind of, but like very,
Everything goes wrong for
Yeah,
the characters.
It's
like-
scripted though.
yeah,
Oh,
it's like
okay,
a drama.
It's a scripted, like it's a sitcom. So it's kind of like an American Pie sitcom, but just with British humor, where you see these like four misfits just try to get laid, and it no matter what they do, it always goes wrong.
Right.
and they just cause awful situations for like everything that happens.
What? It sounds amazing.
Yeah,
It's great.
the British version is fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
British version.
I never knew about the American version, and to be honest,
You
I
don't
I
want
don't
it.
want to.
No, it's
I
so,
can just imagine.
it's so bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
This episode of Trash Taste is supported by Manscaped.
Gentlemen, you know what I care about?
What?
These nuts.
We're grown men. We're grown men. Manscaped is the best in men below the waist grooming and hygiene. Manscaped is taking over the world and is now available in all of Europe, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. Join the movement for all your below the waist grooming needs.
That's right, Europe and Australia are about to get a lot less hairy. If you live in the EU, you can now purchase Manscaped products. If you live there and you've gone years without using the right tools for the job, now's the time for a change.
Look, I'm sure all men can agree with this, but shaving down there, it's a bit of a pain in the butt. It's just a little bit annoying. People always, be like, I'll do it whenever, and then never end up doing it. But now Manscaped has this assortment of handy tools.
That's why Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. The Manscaped engineering team spent 18 months perfecting the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created. That was a sentence I just read. And they just released the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0.
God damn.
Look at this thing.
Sexy. Their third generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to the advanced skin-safe technology pioneered by Manscaped. When I tell you this is premium, I mean premium. The battery will last up to 90 minutes, so you can take a longer shave, Joey.
Damn.
And don't forget the waterproof technology allows you to groom in the shower. One of the coolest features is that it has an LED light, which illuminates grooming areas for a closer and more precise trimming experience.
There it is right there.
They've also upgraded to a 7,000 RPM with quick stroke, trademark, technology.
And let's not forget about the charging stand. Show your mower off loud and proud because this intelligently designed stand is a convenient charging dock powered by USB.
So for you viewers of Trash Taste out there, you can get 20% off and free shipping using our code TRASHTASTE at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use Trash Taste. Your balls will thank you.
Back to the episode.
Back to the episode.
No, back to the episode.
No, back to the episode.
Back to the episode then.
Are there any other like American shows that have tried to adapt British shows that I'm just blanking
Oh,
on
what's
right now?
Taskmaster had one. Have you seen Taskmaster?
What is
In the UK?
Taskmaster?
It's a really popular comedy show in the UK that they adapted in America. It's not very good.
Wait, Taskmaster?
Yeah.
Isn't that a superhero villain?
It sounds like a
Is it?
C tier like DC like.
It's a really
superhero.
popular comedy like show in the UK where like comedians are told to do like a task and then they're judged on how well they did it.
Like a
it's-
really specialized.
Maybe. I mean, there's
Because
tons
otherwise,
of.
like, it's just training. It's just apprenticeship.
You should watch it.
Internship.
Watch
Yeah,
it. Watch it.
yeah,
Watch it.
internship. Yeah, right.
Intern the challenge.
Intern the challenge. So I guess like growing up in Japan, or not so much. Well, you're spending a lot of your childhood in Japan, right? Is there like, I don't know. I feel because like as someone who also spent a lot of his childhood in Japan, there's like certain types of I guess like anime or shows or like manga where it's like it's only really like read or watched by people who were in that kind of situation, you know what I mean? Like a lot of like the slice of life shit, like someone who did it. Yeah, like Sazae-san, like Doraemon and stuff like that, right? Like did you
Yeah,
like you grew up with all that kind of stuff,
Absolutely,
right?
they were my favorites. Doraemon was so big and huge. That was like my major thing whenever I'd come to Japan. I would record those shows and I'd bring it back to
I
the
was
US.
exactly the
And
same.
I'd watch it like throughout the year. Yeah.
It sounds so bizarre to me, like the thought of just like going away to a foreign country
It
studying.
sounds rich, right?
Yeah.
I don't know
Like,
about
because
that.
everybody thought like I was like hella rich because every summer it's like, oh, I'm vacationing in Japan. I'm summering in Japan, but it's not. It was kanji test.
And then smash cuts.
yeah.
But like, it must be like, is it weird like going to a foreign country, just having like, I mean, even then, back then, Japan was even more isolated at that point, right? It must be so bizarre just having to go back and forth between those two. Because like, no one in my school went anywhere foreign and like studied there,
Yeah,
then
but
came back.
that's because
Yeah.
you were there any Asian people in your school?
One Asian person came to my school as I was leaving. I wish I was joking. I literally went to, I grew up in like the whitest part of like the whole country. And like, there was like never any like foreign people.
I was
Like,
only like one of two Asian kids in my whole like
Right.
school career.
Yeah, I was the only one.
I was the only one as well, and like I grew up in Brighton, which is now seen as like the very progressive city.
Oh, it's like the
of,
gay capital of
yes,
the-
it was the gay capital. I don't know if it still is, but it was like now it's seen as the very progressive city in England. But it wasn't like that when I was growing up. I'll tell you that because I was literally the only Asian person in my school, and my school wasn't small. We had like in sixth form we had like 800 people. Or
Yeah,
so.
Fucking
yeah.
hell.
Yeah.
My graduating class had like 600 something people, and by high school there were a few more, but like middle school, elementary school, secondary school or
I get
primary
confused
school?
about
I
this.
get
I'm
confused as well.
sorry, friends.
No,
we say secondary school.
we say secondary school, but I just call it high school now.
Yeah.
We've
It's
been adopted
easier,
by
yeah.
Asian by American culture.
Yeah.
But
But yeah, I don't know. It wasn't really weird for me. I knew I got to step into a different world every summer. And also, like, I loved my family. And because my mom was able to bring me back every year, it kind of stayed tethered.
Bring you back. Like, sorry, didn't get the plane tickets.
Hoist me. Yeah, like, I don't know. I felt very connected, so it wasn't that stark of a thing. Like, it was just a thing for me, right? Like, every summer I go to Japan. Like, every winter I go to Japan. And maybe it's because I also went 2 times a year. That's also why I didn't feel...
I only got to go one time.
You are lucky that we weren't in the same class. I'd have been like, Reina, fucking tell me everything. How did it go? What did you do?
You'd be into Japan?
Dude, I was, as a kid. Yeah, I was, Always. I mean, I guess that's why I'm here right now.
I guess it is,
ever since a kid, I always just thought that, like, Asia was super cool. And that, like, because to Europe, it's like the furthest place from you.
Which is funny, right? Because people in Asia are like, oh, man, Europe is so cool.
Oh, Europe is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, now I really like Europe. When I was growing up, I'm like, Mom, I don't want to go to fucking Romania. I don't want to go to Bulgaria or whatever. Like, take me to, like, Asia. I want to go see... Because it all fucking looks the same in Europe. It doesn't. But as a kid, it all feels the same.
Of course.
I remember when I was like maybe 12 or something, we were shown Big Bird Goes to Japan in one of our history classes.
Oh no!
And 1, 2, 3 is Ichini-san was really huge, and then everybody came to me all of a sudden, and they're like, "Do you have a kimono? And, like, do you pay in yen?" Like, they didn't know what the fuck.
Yearn?
Like, that was, I think, the first, like, super fascination that people had. And I was like, really? A big bird, literal big bird, made you interested in Japan? And they're like, really? Ohio, which is a state in the U.S., Ohio means good morning? And I'm like, yes, fuck. Like, yeah, we speak a different fucking language than you, bro. Like... so that was my experience growing up.
So there wasn't like
foreign.
there wasn't like kids who were like into the culture that were like, Reina, I gotta ask you things.
You know, I had a parent that was very into Japan.
Oh no, that's weird.
Yeah, and like she'd really want her daughter to be friends with me because she loves Japan, and she like always wanted to have tea with my mom, green tea, and
of course, that's all we drink.
Yeah, she was like matcha, but yeah, that was like the only hyper concentrated interest I think anybody had. I did not care for this girl, like I did not like.
Man, yeah, it sucked because I always wanted to learn more about it, but you were just so limited at what you could find because I didn't know anyone.
Other than the internet,
I didn't know anyone who knew anyone.
Even through the internet as well, it all came from like second, third hand accounts. So no one was actually like documenting it.
Right, you can't get to like really know. But yeah,
so you just have to like read forums and have to like piece things together.
Right,
I think this is correct.
Yeah, like I think this is like the right thing. I'm not really sure, but like I'll look around because I always just loved games as well, and games were like a huge thing. I was like, where do these games come from?
So gaming was the other thing I think that brought attention to my nationality. That was really like when DDR came, everyone's like, wow, Japan, like can you sing Butterfly or like Candy? Like that was it. That was a big one.
That's horrifying.
Yeah, I know.
Were you into DDR?
I loved DDR.
that probably didn't help then.
It didn't help. I was just
like reinforcing the stereotype.
I know. Like, when
my
they
God,
asked me-
fine, I'll Spitfire. Jeez.
I feel like fuck. I mean, I'm like, I'll put it on.
Do you eat sushi every day? Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess actually, food was a little bit of a deal. Ramen wasn't that big back then, but like
It's
sushi,
big now, right?
Yeah. Oh, huge.
I mean, Japanese cuisine, I feel like exploded during my lifetime. It wasn't that big when I was growing up, but now it's like
in the UK.
really
Do you think
did.
so? I feel like we still only really have like sushi in the UK. Yeah,
Not even ramen?
There's the occasional ramen place, but nothing like I think
my
worth
God.
getting super excited over.
The U.S. has completely taken that.
Ramen's
over.
everywhere now.
Yeah, but
now.
there isn't a single ramen restaurant in America where I'm like, this is good.
Yeah,
to
me
be
neither.
fair. I mean, it would be hard, right?
All
It's
of them are like
pretty
the
damn
most.
good,
Although
yeah.
to be fair, in Vegas I did go to a ramen place, which dead ass was called Naruto.
That gets points just for
Straight
that.
up.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was like, Aki, why are we not eating there every day? It's fucking amazing.
I became so picky with ramen here. It's
should,
it's
as you
so easy to fuck up. I didn't realize.
Yeah,
until,
it
like,
really
you know,
is.
when you're not here and you're not eating the ramen here, you're like, oh yeah, well it's ramen, isn't it? Same thing. But then when you come here and you're like, broth is 4% too salty. The noodles were slightly undercooked. This is really embarrassing for you. This is your job.
You just become like an absolute fucking food snob when you live here long
Yeah.
enough.
You
Right?
do,
Where it's like,
you do.
I never used to give a shit about like the type of ramen or the type of sushi.
Noodle,
but
yeah.
but now I'm like, no, I only eat at one specific Sushi Train franchise. And anywhere else, 100 yen sushi, get that shit out of here.
So many of them fuck up the pork. Like, if it's so like old and like tough, and I'm like, what did you do to this pork?
It has to be like the perfect.
Yeah.
It has to be like the perfect texture that just like kind of falls apart in your mouth.
Yeah.
That's what it really
yeah.
is. Yeah, like I find myself eating ramen a lot less in Japan than I thought I would.
Yeah.
Like sushi fucking slaps it. I could eat that any day.
Also, ramen fucking takes you out of business for the day. Like, you can't do anything if you eat
It's
ramen.
so heavy and it's so bad for you. Like, it's delicious, but like
It is extremely bad for you.
It's really bad for you, and like you're not supposed to drink the whole broth. Like, that's the killer.
Fuck.
I'm sorry. I knew. I looked at you for a reason. Like, I knew you would.
You're like, white guy, of course you do. Dude, because when I go anywhere, I'm like, I don't want to feel like I'm leaving anything.
Right.
So I feel rude.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I look at the guy making it, I'm like, all right, fuck, okay.
Take it all in.
Chug.
I guess I'm gonna just drink the fucking Dead Sea.
But to be fair, the sodium is through the roof. But sometimes some of the bowls have like the thank you message at the bottom if you drink it all.
Is that what
That's
you're
how they
going
get
for?
you. That's how they literally
Yeah, because
get you.
I want to see the thank you message.
But most of the time there isn't, and do you get sad when you read
Yeah, actually, I get I get real fucking sad when
I did it for nothing.
I drink like a liter of this thing.
Salt?
I feel awful all day. I have to like lie down, and then I didn't even get a thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to think that the guy is like, nice guy. He made my life a little easier. He cleaned it, but he probably doesn't give a fuck. He probably just gets the pressure washer and just, and then it's like clean. There we go.
God.
Yeah, ramen, you definitely get picky in Japan. But that's also because, there's a lot of factors to it, right? Like, is the noodle too chewy? Like, is the broth too fatty? But it's also like personal.
Also, sometimes you get like rushed. And when it's super busy, you're like,
you
you
got
like
that.
all the famous ramen places in Tokyo always have lines, and you're like expect to eat it, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
You can't go with friends because it's not really what it's for.
No.
'Cause there's not going to be like 3 seats empty.
Well, I know
No,
you
no,
guys
the
have
counters.
like constantly told me how fucking fast I eat my ramen.
Yeah.
That's
and it's
a
like
skill.
it's literally just I've been conditioned to eat it. that
Joey
Yeah.
fucking vacuums his ramen. I
Because
swear to
I'm
God.
normally the one who eats super fast,
Yeah.
and then it's
Yeah.
really weird being with Joey where he just destroys the ramen. I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
hold up.
Well,
Let's-
it's because like I've been to when I was still visiting here, and my like uncle would take me to like the best fucking like ramen and skimming places.
He's like, we're leaving
Yeah,
right
no,
now.
like, it's always like
down,
it's always like this store can only hold like 3 people sitting down.
Yeah.
So it's like and there's always like 20 people waiting outside. So it's
Right,
like if you dilly dally in here, you're not going to be welcome back.
Yeah, because you can't talk with your friends and you go in there.
No.
It's like you got to
have
eat.
to concentrate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, it is a skill to eat ramen really fast. I eat really fast too. It like scares people. But that slurping that you're supposed to do, that's like a purposeful thing.
Yeah, 'cause it cools it
It's-
down.
Yeah, exactly. So you can just eat the whole thing while it's piping hot,
Yeah.
which is like a really like you're not weirdly not there to enjoy it. You just need
Yeah,
to
it's there for a
consume
purpose.
it.
It's there for a purpose.
Yeah.
So like fill my stomach, get the fuck out.
Yeah, but there's some places the ramen is so good that you like, I need to take my time. Like, I
I
can't.
know. But
You know, I know. Which is why I'll try and go at like awkward times, like 3 p.m. Yeah, 3, because then you can normally there's never a line. It's like it's dinner's no one's coming for dinner, no one's going for lunch.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like good. But then you fucked up your eating schedule for the day.
Right. I always feel so ungraceful getting out of the stools. I'm like, now I look like I'm 2 months pregnant and I gotta like wedge my way out of here.
Like you can feel the soup just
no.
swishing
Flushing
around in your
around.
stomach.
The worst
I gotta,
is-
like, move it over.
If you're getting on the train afterwards, the moment you sit down the train, it's like sleep is activated.
It does rock you to sleep. It really does. That food coma is
Beats you,
real.
man. But it's so good. Go eat it.
Just don't go to Ichiran, right?
No, I like Ichiran. Ichiran's good.
I remember when you took me there for the first time because I'd never been to Ichiran because
Yeah.
I've only been to like local places. So this is I think it was the day after our medical exam.
Yeah.
And Connor's like, guys, we've got to go to Ichiran.
Well, no, I wanted to get fucked up by ramen because we weren't
By ramen.
because we weren't so we weren't allowed to eat before we weren't allowed to eat from like 8 p.m. the night before, which doesn't sound bad. But when you're told you can't eat by
Oh, yeah. it
Yeah.
hurts.
then
It
you're like,
hurts.
no, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
And I remember we were eating it, and Connor's like, "Go on, how is it? How is it?" And I'd never had such a hard time forming an opinion until that moment.
That's what I'm saying. Ichiran is the most solid 5 out of 10.
Yeah, but the thing I like about it is Ichiran
That's
is a chain of ramen that's seen as like very touristy, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing I do like about it though is that you can. I know this isn't a thing for ramen. You're not supposed to do this. You can customize the spice level.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I really like spicy ramen, and nowhere ever does spicy ramen.
Yeah.
So it's nice that you can do it. You can be like, hey, put an habanero in this shit. And then they do it. And then you can order like extra meat, extra noodles. Like it's all chill. You
That's what
the
it is.
customization is.
Yeah, it's
fun.
the customization is what gets the.
It's not the best by any means, but it's like the most comfortable.
I like it. I know that I won't like get a 2 if I go there, right? Like a solid 5. Like I know I won't completely fuck up.
It was just like a solid 5, and I'm just like, well, that was a meal that I consumed, and it wasn't bad, and it did the job. I am now full. Thank you very much.
Right.
Like if you wrote an IGN review for Ichiran, it'd just be like, good, 5 out of 10. There's like nothing else you can say about it.
You should go to Ichiran. It's pretty good. Check it out. You should go there. You should go there first as a baseline.
No, I agree.
That's a really good idea.
I agree.
And they're all over Shinjuku. There's like 3 right next to the station. So
Are there?
yeah, all in the sketchy parts.
Yeah.
Because when we left at Ichiran, we literally walked out and a guy came up to us like, "You want 6? You want 6?" And we're like literally in front of the station. I'm like, "What is happening?"
Yeah.
It wasn't like even late at night. It was like
It was like midday.
midday. It was literally lunchtime.
Like, do you want lunch? Do you want lunch?
It's because
English?
yeah, it's
What's
because
that?
it's because you're foreign. So when like they don't bug Japanese people.
Yeah.
Because I remember I asked this to one of the bar owners around the area. I was like, why did they only like come up to like foreigners? And they're like, oh, because Japanese people will call the police.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
If they're like, because the dudes will come up to you
I guess
and
it
they'll
is sexual assault.
They'll put their arms around you, be like, hey, where you want to go? Are you looking for some good time? And it's like, leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I can see the Japanese calling the police for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if a
Yeah.
guy puts his arm around it, so they're not going to do it, and they know the
Yeah.
Japanese aren't going to talk to them because they're terrified. I mean, they are because they just come up to you and start like they're quite intimidating. They're like pretty like up front and like it's.
I see you look different from everyone else.
yeah. It's like
What are you doing?
Yeah, it's fine now. It is what it is. You deal with it.
Yeah. So like
Damn.
going back to your experiences in school and everything with being Japanese, was like, were you ever like open about watching anime, or did you ever get bullied for that?
Ooh, in American school, I don't think I ever really brought it up. It's not like I was trying to keep it a secret,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not like these are
It doesn't come up in
my-
conversation.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And I wasn't like, these are my interests. But, oh God, I do remember something weird did happen. I had to do a book report and an
Right.
autobiography. And I did it on Sir Arthur Conan Doyle because I actually really do like Sherlock Holmes. But
I
I also
already know where this is going.
I know. But I also like Sherlock Holmes because my favorite anime of all time is Detective Conan.
Oh,
I grew up with it. It's like my baby. It's older than me now. Like it's crazy. But I was obsessed with it, and all throughout my life I loved it, and I loved it. So I started reading like real Sherlock Holmes, you know.
Right.
And I was like, I'm gonna do my whole book report on this, and I got like really into it. Like it was like a 15-minute presentation.
They're like, Reina, please stop.
Yeah, like she was like, you already got the A, like shut the fuck up. Like fuck, we get it. You're like an Asian nerd. Like goddamn, sit down. But that was when in the whole presentation, towards the end, I started talking about Detective Conan. I was like. I had to explain something like about his name, right? And other iterations of his name. And I was like, and in Japan, the most popular anime is called Detective Conan. And it's about, Conan Doyle, but it's not because, and I like went on like a really nerdy tangent.
You literally did like an anime analysis video of
It was-
why Conan is called Edogawa Conan.
I did. Because Aoyama Gosho uses different, like specifically different famous literature like figures that are like detective novelists in his book jackets, and they work their way into the anime, and I was like so excited about it. And I was like, and then like Cordelia Gray is Haibara Ai because Gray is high, like high, like
It's a tough thing to learn as a kid. Where you're like, man, people don't care about the things that I care about.
I mean, like, I was fine. I didn't get like bullied or anything, but that was what I was like, I gotta turn it down.
I am weirding people
Yeah,
out.
like I gotta shut up right now. But
I got rinsed for saying I liked One Piece when I was like 12.
what? Why?
Yeah.
One
Wait,
Piece
but
is,
you
like,
never even
cool.
seen it.
No, I did when I was a kid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I watched the 4
4
kids.
kids version.
Oh,
Four
the
kids.
four kids. Oh,
Yeah,
well, then, I would have bullied you too for that.
Yeah, they were just like, "Why are you watching cartoons, Connor? We're 11. Grow up."
Oh,
Literally.
yeah. Why aren't you? Well,
My parents would like at the time. They're like, "When are you going to stop watching cartoons?" And I'm like 13. I'm like, "Am I supposed to stop? What? This is awesome though."
Yeah,
Yeah,
my parents kept telling me, "You'll grow out of this. You grow out of this." Here I am, like about to about to go to university, being like, "Am I going to grow out of this?
Yeah, because
I'm still really enjoying this right
Made
now."
a career out of it.
was there a thing like that
Escaping it
in like
now.
American schools, or was like they expect you to like stop talking about like stuff like that? Like,
You know,
yeah.
there definitely was, and I think it was also like I grew up in like late 90s, 2000,
Yeah.
and like there was
Right.
definitely kind of like a we want to pretend to be older than we actually are kind of
Right.
phenomenon.
Yeah.
However, we also. I have to credit like Cartoon Network for this. It's a American television station that had this thing called Toonami.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
we
we
had
had
it
it
as
Oh,
well.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
we all had it.
It's not like just American. Yeah.
No.
That was phenomenal. And Adult Swim was amazing because they would actually show like
Anime.
Cowboy Bebop
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and what was another? Well, they had like a bunch of weird things like Blue Sub 6 was
Outlaw
on it.
Star.
Like Outlaw Star was amazing. Yeah, that was a
good.
good one. And then they did like really like random things like Candidate for Goddess and stuff like that. So they would have really like AAA shows and then they'd like interlace like the
Yeah.
C, B, D titles that probably were
Right,
less
right,
expensive,
right,
right? Just to like fill that time slot. But it was such a good way to introduce, I think, like this adult theme that is a juxtaposition to what cartoons are in the West. And I feel like I also then started like cultivating my like nerd friends, and we all would like watch together, and we were all gamers. So that kind of like interwoven itself it just weaved itself in perfectly. And I never was like bullied or anything.
I'm
for
so
it.
jealous because I wish I had nerd friends growing
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, you
Nerd
came-
friends just didn't exist.
Yeah. I was
Yeah,
growing up in
yeah.
like 2000s. I got so much shit for being nerdy. I got shit for playing video games.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, maybe I think I just grew up in like a really cute.
Well, I
little
think I've said this before on the podcast. I've always been envious of the fact that like America seemed to be way more open to like nerd culture and that
Yeah.
kind of
Maybe
stuff.
we were.
And I think
Now
that the
I think
UK
about
is
it.
very much not.
Yeah.
Because it is now. It is now. But
Right,
like,
I feel
Right.
it definitely depends though on like the type of friends you had as well, because
Yeah.
like there are
I
just
was
some
lucky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because like now that you're so like deeply ingrained into nerd culture with your career, was there ever like a switch where you noticed, oh, being a nerd's actually cool now? Or
Absolutely.
Like-
But I think so I'm like pretty like headstrong and pretty loud and obnoxious, and I always was.
Right.
I was also like obsessed with X-Files, like in like a dangerous manner, right?
How is this
what about
connected?
X-Files?
Well, no, like it's just so nerdy, and it's like kind of older and nerdy, and like nobody gives a fuck. And I'd literally like go around singing like weird songs I made up about Mulder and Scully and how they should be together and stuff. And like I would,
This is the same people who like this eventually turned into Supernatural fans, right?
Oh my god, yes, but I'm like
Like,
Charmed
it's the same.
fans.
It's the exact same group
It's
of
the
people.
same
Bro, I haven't
group
heard
of
that
people,
name in
yeah.
a while.
It's the
Yeah.
same type of people. Yeah.
Definitely. And like I don't know, like I think I just didn't really care, and nobody really made fun of me for it because
Yeah.
I don't know, I guess there's like no reason to. It's like, oh, like look at that little Asian girl being obsessed with this like weird alien show or whatever. And I was in AP studio art, and I would literally draw Scully and Mulder, and once I drew them fucking, and I just like I did it. I
You
was
literally
like,
drew X-Files Dojin.
yeah, I like Rule 34'd like Mulder and Scully, and I tried to submit it for one of my like studio profiles, and it got rejected so fast and so hard. And so
wonder why.
yeah, well I know, right? It was so beautiful. I'm like, I'm not
Is it
too
embrace
high
it?
on horn.
Romantic embrace of one
It
another.
was
You know?
romantic. It wasn't like hot and raunchy. It was romantic and beautiful. And then I was
They
like,
weren't fucking, they were making love.
they were
Thank you
making
very
a
much.
I know. I said it wrong.
It deserves to be on a roof of a church. You know?
Truly, it's very. It was very acceptable. Like the way I
Tasteful is the word. I think.
Tasteful.
No,
Very tasteful.
I don't know if it was tasteful. You could see like some nipple, but I didn't understand why they would like reject it so quickly. So I would
Yeah.
modify it, and I'd like turn it into mixed media, and I'd put like oil paintings on it, and then I'd like put some acrylic on it, so it would like cover.
You're really
some
committed
of
to
the,
this drawing,
I
huh?
wanted it to be submitted. So, I'd like try to fix it, but it was still rejected because they knew what the original one was. But anyway, my whole point was like, I really wore it on my sleeve without really giving a shit. So there was no making fun of me. It's like, what are you going to make fun of me for liking this show? Like, bitch. Like, so I don't know.
I feel a lot of kids though, like especially back then, were not as strong as you were.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was a very empowering moment when I realized, wait, I can just like not care. And then people won't.
It's like, whoa, you can do that?
Yeah, well, and then people will like not make fun of me because they realize
Right.
I don't care.
I'm sure they made fun of me in secret. Like,
But it
I
doesn't
didn't
matter,
hear it.
right? Like-
Yeah, for sure.
Just don't care. It's such a cheat code to life, right?
Fucking.
Yeah, seriously,
Yeah.
truly.
Yeah.
God damn. I do want to know, considering all the stuff you have done. Also, the what's the Mochi Gang show was awesome, by the
Oh
way.
yeah, thank you so much.
I was like, damn, nice, Reina, you killed
That
it.
was a lot of fun. It was a little scary because in that
Yeah.
I had to interpret on the spot as well. Because
really?
actually,
Shit.
a lot of the Japanese chefs that we interviewed in Manhattan were just Japanese. They didn't speak like a lick of English.
Really?
Yeah, and they purposefully found them. It was so good. Like the researchers in First Week Feast are so
Yeah.
freaking good. Like Jackson's amazing. He was our director, but he like really went hard. And we went to like this specialized kabayaki unagi shop. It was like it's the only one in all of New York.
Unagi?
Yeah. On that like eating like that like 7 coal like fire thingy. And he's like the only one in all of Manhattan that does it. And he literally gets the unagi imported from John F. Kennedy Airport, and he has to get specialized FDA passes for it because they're live animals.
Oh,
So like so like they went deep, and it was hard because again like food lingo is technical lingo. So I was like, what did you just say? Like, I don't know what knife you're talking about. And they're like, oh no, that's like not like, yeah, it was kind of hard. But,
Right.
Yeah.
but I did feel really special because they're like, only you would be able to do
Literally,
this.
you were like perfect for that. It was so
and I
good.
Thank you. And then, they even knew I used to be an apprentice pastry chef. Like they went that deep into researching about me.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're like, so since you have like culinary experience, I'm like, why do you know that?
I told you that.
I was like definitely still using my real name back then. So like, how the fuck did you find that shit? Like, what else do you know about
I
me?
scrubbed
Like your
that.
entire life history.
They're like this you?
And they even knew what culinary school I like got certificates
That's
from in
fucking
Manhattan.
That's
Creepy.
creepy.
Yeah, they knew like where I learned like chocolate tempering, and they also learned where I learned like they knew where I learned sponge
I don't even
cakes.
know what that word means. What is chocolate
what-
temper?
yeah, what is
I don't-
It's when you raise the temperature of chocolate to melt it, and then cool it down, and then melt it again.
Oh,
so
that's
that
what you do
the-
with metal to heat treat it.
Yeah,
That's what we do with
Actually,
That's what we do with
yes.
engineering.
Wow.
Actually, yes, so that the white streaks don't happen when it
You heat treat
formulates again.
chocolate.
Yeah, it shocks the chocolate, but
That must have come from like engineering techniques, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
it must
definitely.
have.
Oh, yeah.
And the real way to do it is like you use a marble slab to cool it down, and then you scrape it again and warm it up again, so that it like really it changes the molecule.
Literally,
Not really,
probably
but-
you put in more engineering than I did with mine. Man,
But-
This is
Yeah.
like food science.
yeah.
Yeah, they
literally.
freaking knew that.
Yeah.
What is that
And then
about?
they were like, so in school, we see you drew a picture of Mulder and Scully fucking. What was that?
And they're making love. It's Sistine Chapel
So
shit.
we found a manuscript of your Detective Conan speech, and it's kind of cringe, bro. What are you thinking about that?
It's not cringe. It was well researched. It was so well researched.
I was gonna ask, what's next then? What do you want to do next? Like, because
You know-
you've done everything, I swear, right?
Damn, I really don't know. We had Gochi Gang season 2, and all the guests completely mapped out, and then we had to drop it, and we postponed it, and then now it's like completely in limbo.
Fuck.
And the U.S. is like doing pretty well with vaccination, so I think that's what they're like really banking on. So the
Yeah.
timeline is starting to kind of speed up,
Right,
where
right.
they can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, but. Man, it's really hard because I'm trying to make sure that happens beyond anything else.
It's hard to get invested in anything right now.
It really is, and I
Yeah.
don't want to have my heart broken. So
It's literally just don't get my hopes up. Just
Yeah.
it's literally just been that for
Just
the past
tell me
year
when
and
it
a half.
happens, and then I can
Yeah.
get excited
Right,
about
right.
it. Yeah.
But as we talked about before, Twitch is very interesting. But also, I've been doing a lot more voice acting because a lot of the studios, especially like more indie gaming studios, have become more flexible with their audio specs, right? So
Right.
they're okay with like you sending stuff from home, and so that's looking really fun and good during this like like pandemic period.
Yeah.
But genuinely, I don't even like really know.
I'm just trying to figure it out.
I'm just trying to figure it out, and I think it's almost okay that we take the time. That's like, what else are we supposed to do other than like kind of introspect right now?
Yeah. Because like it's like, do you have a favorite kind of like industry or topic that you like to work in? Because you've worked in so many different like industries and stuff.
I do like hosting. I think that is really where I trained the most in, so to speak, and I'm the most comfortable being like told what to say, but also have an opinion.
Because you're
about
almost
it.
like you're in a weird position where it's like people know you as like a YouTuber.
I know, right?
But you don't really consider yourself a YouTuber, right?
I mean, it's not like a bad thing. Like I would.
Dirty word.
Yeah, I'm not a YouTuber.
Did you just call me a content creator? Ew.
I mean, in a way, like I actually think it's more impressive to be a YouTuber where I like really wanted to be that instead of like a host that's hired for stuff.
I don't know, man. Like, I think a host looks way more like.
Really? I mean,
like,
I can't tell anymore.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of hard to tell. I guess
I feel like it's my mood on the
grass is
day.
greener maybe too. Yeah.
You're like, damn, consistent employment, that must be nice.
Right.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, but then I guess your earnings are capped at some point.
They are. And your like growth potential is definitely limited.
Right.
But I do miss working with like a technical team. I miss having like a co-host. And I guess I miss like a professional aspect of it, although it's not like YouTube isn't professional. It's just having to take care of every aspect of it yourself. And then if it comes crashing down, it crashes down on you and you implode.
Yeah.
That's really frightening.
It is super nice just being able to turn up and then just do the thing and leave.
Yeah.
Right,
It's
right.
pretty
And like
good.
someone else does everything else for you.
Because I feel like I'm really quite technologically current, right? But even like streaming for me, it's like confusing at times.
Right.
Like just having to set up and having to learn, especially looking at Connor's setup, which Connor says it's easy. I'm gonna be like, no, it's not easy.
He said it before, like you could do it too. I'm like, okay.
Well, okay, there's ways like I can like dumb it down, like take away some things that you don't need, like all the live sound
you
effects
need to
and
bare
dumb.
bones that.
Yeah, well, I mean, literally, like the Stream Deck alone will up the quality of your stream, which is like this tiny little thing with like 12 buttons that will just change things or play sounds or do certain things, and it makes it so much more professional. Like and makes it so much easier. Yeah. Because I used to have to like pull up the software, scroll to the thing I wanted to click, and then change it to like this screen. So if I want to be like, okay, show all of my face, all right, scroll. I actually want to change back to the game now. Scroll. But now it's just like press the buttons on the side.
Yeah. But like there's also times where, with this kind of setup, for some reason, you changed one setting or something, you changed one setting you don't remember you did, and for some reason the sound from your game or the sound from the chat is just not coming out.
Yeah,
you
there's
just
always
don't
a
know
technical
why.
issue somewhere.
And you just have to go through this to-do list where you're just checking, okay, is this setting correct? Is that setting correct? I don't even remember all what I did to set this up to begin with. It just adds a layer of complexity to it.
I do think that there's like such a forgiveness in streaming, right? Like anybody that is your fan that's watching you, I think they find it charming that you have to not like fumble around, but it's very real, right? To be like, oh, sorry, like technical error, like let me fix it, and you're kind of there for the journey.
I guess that's kind of like the bittersweet moment, right? Because like there have been some moments where I'm like, there is something wrong with my stream, and I cannot for the life of me
completely forgot.
Fucking figure it out. But like it's kind of like nice to be like just. You've been like, oh fuck, sorry guys, I'm trying to fix this thing. I don't know what the fuck it is. I don't want to end the stream because we just started. And this is like hundreds of people just being like, it's all good, bro.
Yeah,
we'll wait.
Charming.
I'm just like,
that's so sweet.
I don't know, like, because I get that because a lot of people in the comment section are supportive, but then you start going through technical difficulties and then you see that live viewer count drop and it never feels good.
If it's something little, it's whatever. But if it's like stream like crashing worthy, like it's very stressful.
Yeah.
I accidentally shared my YouTube like all my analytics one time on stream.
Really?
For like a second. Yeah.
You just accidentally hit the wrong tab.
Yeah, I accidentally shared the wrong thing, and I was like, "Yeah, guys, all right, that's how much I made this month. All right."
I've done worse than that. I leaked the Trash Taste special.
That's not bad.
I've leaked my IP address, which is awful. That was the most. That was just the most stressful like realization of.
Are we getting DDoSed? Are we getting DDoSed?
Instant sinking feeling to be like, okay, God, I gotta fucking sort this out. All right, literally unplugged my internet, unplugged everything. I'm just like, Google, how do I change my IP address?
Fucking hell.
Yeah, don't go on, don't test your speed, or don't go don't test your speed live on stream.
Don't test speed.
I didn't realize my IP address was right there.
Yeah, it's pretty good. How did you save it? What did you do when you showed it?
Luckily, it wasn't that complicated because I googled it. All you have to do to like change, because I don't have a static IP address, all I had to do was like unplug my router, plug it in again. But I don't know. At the time, I was just like, well, my internet's fucked.
Yeah, because I feel like how you handle the fuck up is like the most important part.
Yeah.
And then like when I flashed my thing, I'm like, yeah, you know what, guys? I'll just fucking show you. Just have a look. You're gonna look at the clip. Just have a look. Like, all right. And then I was like, all right. So I know it seems like a lot. There's a lot of
just an estimate.
YouTube takes 40%.
YouTube takes a cut. There's a lot of costs going involved. Like, it's real easy to look at that number.
Just fucking sweating.
I'm like, tax is like 40%. It's pretty brutal. Like.
So basically, I see none of that.
What I'm trying to say is, I'm broke. Thanks for the $10 donation, by the way, Tim in the chat. I'm kidding. That's why I tell people when I'm streaming. Like, I don't stream because like I want to, like, some people do it because like I want to get more subs. I'm like, I just do it because I like playing the game. I don't like playing games alone anymore. For me, I don't know why. I think that's probably a bad thing that I've ruined gaming alone for myself. Right. I only like gaming with an audience now. I don't know what this is about me. This is what's wrong with me mentally.
That's like literally the only thing that's stopping me from like fully committing to Twitch is the fact that I don't want another one of my hobbies to turn into a job.
I completely understand. Yes, that's also my other.
I was falling out of love with gaming, and I think Twitch really saved it for me. And that's why, like, when I'm streaming, I'm always like, yeah, dude, you can sub if you want, but like, I really don't care if like, you don't need to. I'm doing this regardless. And I just hope people believe me when I say that. It's so easy to sound like bullshit when you say something like that. Try to justify why you have like 30K revenue last month. You're like, oh my god.
Yeah, you should have just been like, I don't choose the CPM.
I'm like, it used to be like I couldn't live, and now I live comfortably. It's like things change. While I'm like sinking in my chair, like fuck.
I can't believe you went into Justify. That's so scary. I would have just like cut the whole stream. I'd be like, that was a technical error. Somebody hacked me.
Damn, Photoshop is advanced these days. Wow, I photoshopped my own analytics. Damn, look at that.
You should just opened up Paint and being like, just drawn a 3 and being like, oh no.
Just like erase one of the zeros. Like.
Yeah, I think people know that. I think, when you get to a certain size, people are like, I expect you to make some money, It always feels weird because I feel like I don't deserve it.
Well, their estimates are also like way off.
Yeah, they are.
Someone's like, you probably make like $500,000. I'm like, are you fucking stupid? Like,
it is so hilarious, like looking up like fucking websites being like, the anime man's net worth.
Yeah, $10 million.
It's always like 10 times more than what you actually.
But it's all it's because it's an estimate, right?
The range.
Yeah.
Fucking hilarious. I mean, it's like the anime man is worth anywhere between $200,000 to $10 million. I'm like, I'm sure I am somewhere in there.
I mean, I do get it now that I'm a YouTuber, because like for the longest time I thought how much I earned is how much everyone's earned for what I get, and then I've only recently realized, man, CPM fucking matters.
Oh yeah,
and the like subject matter that you talk about also fucking matters. Like I would say this, like as like a person who does anime content on YouTube, CPM fucking sucks.
No, it's shit. It's absolute shit.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much other people in the like similar size of me was earning in other fields until people started exposing how much they earned.
Yeah, and exactly.
And it was just like,
wow. You're so desperate for a video, you're like, fuck it, I'll out myself as a millionaire. I'm not one of you guys, I lied.
Yes, I'm a millionaire, one of it.
I needed a video this week, damn it.
It's scary, man. Yeah, but like, again, like, because, I've also been thinking of like getting, after what I'm going through, because I'm in a really busy period, but like once I've like settled down and I can actually start doing Twitch streams more regularly, it's like, all right, I want to try and figure out a way to not make this another job.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, I've already done it with anime where like literally all of last year and like a large majority of 2019, admittedly, I didn't fucking watch any anime because I was so fucking burnt out on it, right?
Yeah.
After like 6+ years of talking about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's shitty because it's like, I still love it, but like, I had so much trouble actually sitting down and being like, I'm going to casually watch an anime.
Yeah.
Because I can't do it anymore.
You're going to be like ranked watching hentai. Like,
Right.
I can't play casual hentai anymore. I only have ranked playlists.
Oh, dude, it's like it's ripping my fucking libido.
No, because I do kind of feel that because it's not ranked hentai or ranked anime, but like you do watch anime and you're just like, is this useful to like my job?
Yeah.
It's like, am I getting out?
It's literally like ranked and casual gaming.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
If you only play ranked, it's so hard to play normal
Yeah,
games.
it's
Yeah,
like I could be making a video on this.
Yeah.
And if I don't, I feel like I just
It's a
wasted my
waste.
time.
What about
Yeah.
when you go to like 7-Eleven, Raina? You're like, fuck, I don't want to make a video, but I just wanted to get a sandwich. But fuck, I should vlog.
Oh my god, I always feel that all the time. Like I always end up taking videos and photos at 7-Eleven,
Yeah.
even if it's just like in the middle of the night and I'm getting a straw.
It's easy to
or
get
something.
B-roll though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do, and that's how I always think, which is like kind of I think unhealthy. I just want to live in the moment and like drink my like 3 strong zeros and just like pass the fuck out for the rest of the night. But I'm also like, well, look at how aesthetic it is, and I'll like have to like take some B-roll, and I'll definitely use that at one point or whatever. But it's also a trap, right? Like, because 7-Eleven will come out with something new like literally every 3 or 4 days, and I'm like, fucking this shit. Now I'm like, I don't want to eat anymore.
Stop being a great company with great new items for me as a customer.
Our
Yeah, because
R&D is
like
phenomenal.
like the seasonal products in Japan, they're just like this is just like a YouTube gold mine.
Yeah.
you know?
Oh,
yeah.
Because it's
I mean,
it's content
Japan is a YouTube gold mine.
it is.
I mean,
right?
Don Quixote was made for YouTube.
It really was.
It's like, are you running out of video ideas? Go to Don Quixote.
Yeah, just
you'll
to be
find something.
inspired.
Yeah.
It's not just that, but like I think Japan as a country is just optimized for every kind of fucking content out there.
Oh, yeah.
My God, I've never seen a country that is more aesthetic than Japan. It's kind of not fair. Like
You were talking about this the other day.
yeah. Because we were like walking down was it Nakameguro?
Nakameguro, yeah.
And it was just like this random street in this random area, and I'm just looking around, being like, that's really fucking aesthetic, isn't it? My God.
No,
like,
Gone out loud to me was like, I hate how aesthetic Japan is. Like literally I can turn any corner and I'm just like, damn, that looks good.
Truly, yeah.
I feel like, because, you know, like, for example, when you go to Starbucks, in the UK, I feel like this is ruining the architecture. Like, there's such, like, classical buildings that look great, and it's like, oh, it's fantastic. Then in Japan, they look really fucking cool, and Japan is so good at decorating everything.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Starbucks, they have, like, 100%, like, figured everything out.
yeah.
Everyone is obsessed with Starbucks here.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're so good at, like, the Sakura cups right now. Like, everything's Sakura.
Yeah.
And they change it next month. It's going to be something else. It's like,
is.
they've gamed it so well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like every little restaurant, even if it's just like a local restaurant or
Yeah.
like a big chain, they've like personalized their look so much that, you know, you can go to a different restaurant and have like a completely different experience. And it's just kind of ruined. Like, I don't know if ruined is the right word, but it set my expectations unreasonably high for when I go back to England and everything kind of looks the same.
You have been to the
Yeah,
UK?
yeah. I've never. Oh, I have once. I went once for this like Sony Square Enix sponsored thing. I think it was like a VR before VR was
Wow,
perfected, so it
just
made
dropping
everyone
the big
sick.
names, just like
You're like
that.
Pokemon, Sony,
No,
you
I'm
know.
sorry, I didn't mean to. I actually
kidding.
wanted
No,
to
it's
talk
great, it's
about
great.
how it was before VR was perfected, so everybody threw up everywhere. Like, it was like a really big problem. I was one of them.
It's like the episode from Family Guy. Everyone's just fucking vomiting.
It was not that fountainy, but yeah, it was really similar. It made everybody sick, and but that was the only time I ever went, and I was so in love with it. Everything was so lovely and beautiful.
Is
and
the architecture fantastic?
I thought so.
Fuck you, Khan.
Is it not? Is it
He
not?
thinks it doesn't look
God's
great.
not impressed
Oh,
by
I
it.
mean,
Really?
like coming to Japan, I'm like,
No,
nah, Japan's
no,
way more aesthetic than the UK.
I think Tokyo buildings look ugly sometimes and like really messy and like dirty sometimes. I don't know.
Depends on the district, but I agree with you.
Yeah, it depends on the district. Yeah. There are some parts where I'm just like, yikes, this is like kind of gross.
Yeah,
But, like,
let's turn
Wait,
back.
what did you like about the UK? I'm curious.
Let's see. Our hotel was a very like classical hotel.
You got very
And-
lucky.
Oh yeah, I know. I was lucky. And I loved the breakfast. Oh my god, the breakfast was phenomenal.
English breakfast?
Oh, it was so
do like English
good.
To be fair, English breakfast is fucking bomb.
It is good.
Fucking
It is good.
amazing. And you know, everybody kind of kept to themselves.
Yeah, that's what we do.
British
Yeah.
people do that.
I like that. I like that.
I liked that too.
It's not British people keeping to themselves. It's Americans unable to keep to
this is
themselves.
this is
the
why
thing,
I
yes,
feel
absolutely.
when I moved here, I felt like there were a lot of parallels between Japanese and British culture. Like the way that it's like keep to yourself, don't make noise.
Head down.
Yeah, head
Just
down.
Don't worry about it.
Don't talk to it on
Yeah.
public
Yeah,
transport.
yeah,
Don't do that. Why would you do that? Don't do that.
Yeah, maybe that's why I just like innately really liked it. But you know, like you said before, Japan does kind of have this like romantic, weird admiration with Europe. So I think, I mean, culturally, I guess like personality wise, we're also the same. Keep to ourselves, like be quiet and stuff.
yeah.
But there's a lot of things I think in Japan that like wanted to be like the UK.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I feel like
See
the
some
UK were
parallels.
pretty good at knowing when to be loud and all rowdy, I guess. At least I feel like we are, but I don't know.
what was the drink I had? Pims?
Oh, Pims is good. Pims is
It was
good.
so
Honestly,
good.
I fuck with Pims.
What's
Pims
Pims?
is good.
It's like a summer cocktail drink where you just put like a
Yeah.
bunch of fruit in a drink and it's like a 10% alcohol. Is it? It's quite strong,
Yeah.
It's a kind
really
of
good.
like a Long Island iced tea.
but fruity.
No. Don't say Long Island iced tea.
Okay.
That's,
You're right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
that'll give the wrong. That'll give
You're
the wrong
right.
image.
You're right. Long
It's
Island
like a
iced tea.
super fruity and fresh tasting cocktail that's
It
quite
tastes,
strong.
It tastes good. Don't
Okay,
worry.
okay.
And every,
good.
every
Long Island iced tastes good.
No, it doesn't. Long Island iced tea is what you take when you get fucked.
and if you go to a
That's-
British barbecue,
that's true.
everyone brings Pims.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's very normal.
Love
Sounds
Pims.
great.
That was delicious. I had it like every night. And then you'd like feel better with the breakfast in the morning.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really lovely. I wanted to go again, but there was no timing. And whenever I had like vacation time, I'd always choose Japan.
Yeah, that makes
so-
sense.
Yeah.
I'm just always curious what people think about the UK because obviously when you're British, you're like, I fucking hate it here.
I mean, as
I'm tired of being British.
as a Sherlock Holmes fan, I shit myself. Like it was
Oh,
amazing.
did you go to Baker Street?
No, I didn't.
Because
I was nowhere near
the
there.
underground station for Baker Street has like all the walls like in the shape of like outlines of the characters like on like in tiles. Yeah, it's really
Oh, really?
yeah,
That's
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah. A lot of the really historic stations, all the underground stations have like something to have for it. Like I think where the Globe Theatre is, it's a bunch of Shakespeare stuff all over the underground
That's pretty
station.
cool.
Wow, that's lovely.
Japan kind of does that too, in a sense, but a lot more like subtle. I feel.
Yeah.
I think we're really proud of our history in Britain. I think.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't be at sometimes, but but some things are good. They're like Shakespeare. Forget the colonization stuff.
Yeah.
Shakespeare.
Jesus Christ.
No, because like for me at least, as a Brit, I feel like London's pretty cool. London's a cool city. But
Sorry, I feel like I always bring up Britain. I just love hearing what people think about the UK. It's really interesting.
No,
that makes
genuinely,
sense.
yeah, of course. I care about what people think about Japan.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, let me
Yeah.
tell. I'm joking. Go on, sorry.
No, I mean like London's cool. London's like really different. I feel, but London's like kind of in its own bubble. Right?
Totally different
it
to the
is
rest of the
You
UK.
go out of
Okay.
London, and like to me, every kind of place in England kind of feels the same. I mean, like I would say I do kind of miss the countrysides of England. Countryside's really fucking beautiful, but for me, I just don't get any variety in England, right? And that's what I love about Japan. I feel like you can get so many different experiences here, and I feel like, especially in COVID times when we have been stuck in Japan, even in those times, I feel like I've been able to be blessed with a lot of variety in the experience I've had, even being stuck in one country. And I feel like if I was living in any other country, I would be way more bored than I am if I
dude.
wasn't
Oh,
in
yeah.
Japan.
I can't imagine fucking being in lockdown in Australia right now because it's
Yeah.
like, dude, there's nothing to fucking do if you don't have a car. Like, and you're not even allowed to
Oh,
like
yeah.
drive around, right? Like, I can't walk anywhere.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So it's like, well, fuck, what am I gonna do? Look at the fucking same cockatoo like 70 days in a row.
What is a cockatoo?
You know what a cockatoo
Is it a bird?
It's a it's a
bird.
giant bird. Yeah.
Don't they
That sounds
talk
badass.
to you?
I mean, they're parrots, so yeah. I mean, trained ones can.
I watched a TikTok of like a cockatoo sing a song by itself when the owner goes away, and it was amazing.
Yeah, we had a
Chug with
we
you.
had a pet cockatiel which is like a kind of smaller cockatoo,
Yeah.
and like we taught it to sing the Addams Family theme song
That's so cute.
and imitate the microphone. Sorry, the microwave, like the microwave beeping noises. So like it got so good to the point where like it would make beeping noise of the microwave, and I legitimately thought someone was using the microwave.
Oh my god.
So like every now and then, like he'd make the microwave like beep beep beep, like the button pressing sounds,
right.
and one of us would go into the kitchen being like,
like,
"Who's
check.
using the microwave?"
Yeah,
Yeah, it was fucking cool.
crazy.
There'll be an episode of like Joey's haunted microwave coming. I feel an aura. Oh,
He used to imitate like the phone ringing as well.
Oh, my god, that'd be a
because we used to
nightmare.
have like we used to have still like landline like phones like the
Yeah.
house
My parents
phone.
still do.
And yeah, it would imitate that sound. So it's so many times during the day we'd think the phone is ringing and we'd walk in and it's not ringing.
Oh my god, that's
That would
cute,
be
but
so
so
annoying.
annoying.
It got very annoying.
Or if they could do like the vibrating noise perfectly. When someone could do that. I knew someone who could do
Oh,
who could do the
yeah. That's
like
pretty
perfectly.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was kind of like suspicious.
I didn't think it was that hard.
yeah, he did go to the Tenga factory, so
Those ones just go.
Wow, exact.
Yeah, I've noticed the exact model.
Like I've noticed Joey is like surprisingly good at doing sound effects. Like we were in karaoke the other day, and Joey just does like the R2D2 sound effects and like the X-wing sound effect, and it's just like.
You know in Star Wars the R2D2 when he like screams.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that like surprisingly really
Wow.
well. I don't know if I want to do it now because the fucking microphone.
It might blow
but-
out, yeah.
Yeah.
But later, please.
Yeah, I'll show you later.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
can do like the X-wing, like the scream sound.
What?
Yeah, I can do that.
I feel like,
alright.
you have to do it now.
I don't know. It's just I guess it's just I have a good ear. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, though.
Not to put pressure on, but yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to go back to how Japan is super varied because I actually never understood that about Japan being such a tiny island country and yet having even dialects be so different throughout all of Japan. How is that possible? Like, how did that even happen? Like, how did we stay so separated in all of our like clans, so to speak?
Look at the UK, right?
Yeah,
like,
the UK is similar. Way.
yeah,
I guess so.
It's like
actually.
20 different accents just in London.
yeah. It's
You
like
know what?
if
Yeah,
you drive
actually.
10 minutes, it's a totally different accent sometimes.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's certainly like if a country's been around for a while, it happens, right? And especially because there was before travel was widely,
Right.
available, I guess.
I mean, in the case with Japan, like brief history of Japan, like Japan was
20 pieces.
Well, yeah, it was in like 50 different pieces, and each of them was technically their own countries
Right,
until
with
it
their
was
own
all
language.
founded in like the 1600s. Right?
Yeah,
So for
yeah.
like over 2,000-3,000 years,
Yeah.
each place was just like a different country.
It just blows my mind because like even so I'm in Shizuoka, right? And I'm like on the side that's rather close to Tokyo. It takes longer to get to the opposite side of Shizuoka than it does to go to Tokyo. And I went there for like some kind of job and I couldn't understand the shopkeep person. I couldn't figure it out. I was like, I'm so sorry. And I have a Shizuoka accent in Japanese. Like I accidentally let like the dialect slip and stuff. But
Right.
even then I was like, I can't figure you out. Like, do you speak English?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I had that same thing. Like when because my family's from Miyagi, which is like up
Yeah.
north, right? And like I have so many of like my grandma and granddad's like cousins who still live in like fucking tiny villages in the middle
Right.
of like the mountains, where it's like there are some villages that have their own like village specific dialect.
Wow.
And like village specific like words. And I remember like one of them like came out to the city to like see my grandma for like, in like first time in like 15 years or something.
Wow.
And she
Right.
just came out and she like a lot of like Japanese dialects have like they end their sentences in a very like specific way.
Yeah,
or, like,
the ending is specific.
The ending is very
Yes.
specific.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So like in what's like an example? Like in Sendai normally, right? We end all of our sentences in be.
Sodabe.
Yeah, sodabe
Yeah.
instead of sodane. And like, I guess for
We
you
say
like
sodara.
Yeah.
It's not for us.
ra, right?
So like usually it's sodane or so desne, right? Like that desne turns into just whatever.
Different shit
the
when it
hell
comes to
anybody wants.
dialects.
Yeah, so ours is
Yeah, I've been winging it, man. When people, I just say, saw this, and then I'm like, am I doing it right? I don't fucking know. I just hear people
You
saying
sound
it.
great.
Yeah, no, that's fine because that's like the standard, right?
Yeah. There's a standard Hyojingo, like there's
Yeah.
standard regular language.
Right.
But my grandma's like cousin, dead ass, she ended all of her sentences with nya. And I'm just like,
Love it.
and I was just like, the weeb inside of me is frothing right now, and it's so
It's
weird.
a real thing.
It's a real thing.
It's a real anime character.
It's like,
Oh no.
And it's like I thought she was like putting it on, but
Right.
I'm like, why would this like 90-something-year-old like 4 foot tall grandma be putting on her ending all of her sentences ending in ya?
Joey, now.
Weebs are like, we found the promised land.
Go to this
Go to that village.
super tiny village in the middle of nowhere in Miyagi, and you will find a village where everyone ends their sentences with nya.
So these people who are posting online were secretly from Japan the whole time.
All the time.
Oh my god, my eyes are surely open.
Oh, that's older people I don't know if it's all of Japan, but like in my area, nai becomes nya for us. So like kairanai, kairanya, right? But like not like that though, right? It literally is like dacha type of ending.
Yeah, it's like so sodane will be sodanya. Like it's like dead ass. Like I wish I was making that up. Yeah. But it's so fucking weird. I'm like, that is fucking adorable, but you're also like 93.
100.
You're like 100 years old.
And
like,
you're saying nya.
yeah. But like
Which one says uwu at the end?
that's the other village.
Yeah, it's in Okinawa, right?
Yeah, they all walk around like this. It's ubu, right? That's how they say hello. They're just like,
no.
oh my god.
I'm curious, like, do you ever hear a British accent or like an English dialect that you have trouble understanding?
There will be one, I guarantee out there that you'll be like, what the fuck are they saying?
I mean, honestly, I haven't. I'm sure there are. I just haven't come across any. But
Cockney for me is like.
That's not even one. That's
Yeah.
pretty tame.
Yeah.
Really?
But the more north you go, the more like, what the fuck did you just say?
Yeah,
Oh,
like
man,
like
I've
in
never
England,
experienced
like,
it.
especially in England, the more north I go, the more like you start squinting with your ears, just be like,
Because what they do is that they start replacing common words with just their own version, and sometimes it's that person specific.
Oh
but,
my God.
But everyone around them just knows because it's like everyone. I don't know. It's really
It's like
bizarre.
We've hung
Yeah,
out with
it's
you long
conceptual.
enough.
Yeah, where everyone just says the same thing, and it was just really bizarre.
can you mimic one that
I couldn't
may not
even, man.
possibly
I don't know.
understand?
Like, there's so many British words that when people tell me that, I'm like, I don't know what that means on its own, but when used in a sentence, I'm like, I know what he's talking
I
about.
feel like in the UK, the further north you go, the more the sentence just turns into like mush.
Yeah, something
what I
like
mean?
that. Like there was a post on Twitter. It was like, "What is this?" And it was like British people were replying. And it was an alleyway, but there was like 10 different ways of saying an
say
alleyway,
alleyway?
in like British English. Well, it's not official, but like slang.
Yeah.
And then it was like, because I saw it because it was a quote retweet. It was like, "Americans must be losing their mind right now." And it was called. Like, there was tons. I gotta find this tweet. It was
do
like
you call
crazy.
it?
Just I call it an alleyway, but then again, I've been Americanized. Like,
Yeah.
doing this job, I've had to really kick out the very dialect specific
Yeah.
words.
I say
Right,
cell
right.
phone, I say elevator.
Yeah, like if-
now.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and like
because I used to say lift, but
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
time
I say
I've met an
I say
American,
apartment.
they were like, "What the hell's a lift?"
Oh, instead of loft.
flat.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loft.
Yeah,
Raina, what are you on about? Fuck you saying, Raina?
My bad. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
but,
because-
but they're so contextual though. Like you can figure it out. Like
Sometimes.
Sometimes, but
If
there's
you
been
understand
so
what they're saying in the
Yeah,
first
of course,
part.
of course.
But there's been so many moments where I thought this was just like a universal word until I said it to an American. They were like, "What's that?"
Oh.
Because like I always thought like lorry
Oh, yeah.
for truck
Oh, yeah.
was just like everyone said it.
A lorry driver.
Yeah.
Yeah, lorry driver.
A lorry.
driver.
How do you spell it? L-O.
Lorry.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Like
so that's
lorry.
right.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's like it's not a truck, it's a lorry. Or like like a pram, right?
Yeah.
Instead of a stroller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in America, it's a stroller, right? You
Yeah,
put your baby in
yeah.
a stroller. No,
Yeah.
in Australia we call it a pram.
It's okay. In
I
Japanese,
prefer-
it's baby car.
I prefer, I was going to say, I prefer baby carriage.
Wait, a
Baby compartment.
Baby compartment.
pram?
A pram.
Yeah.
Pram.
That's what we call it in the UK.
P-R-A-M.
But like not pram, like English A, like
Pram.
pram. Oh,
Pram.
it is a little bit long. Okay,
pram.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like I thought everyone in the world called it a pram. And babies wear nappies. Right?
Diapers?
No, they wear
Yeah.
nappies.
Yeah. Well, it's
But
yeah,
it is
yeah.
okay. I was like, what is it then? Tell me.
Yeah.
Like, what are they wearing?
Well, yeah, Australia, just give them a leaf. Like, fuck it.
Just slap it on. So there you go, you're done. That was a weird way to fucking end.
What a way to end
In
it.
Australia, we call them nappies. Thanks for watching Trash Taste.
Well, grab your bottle of water and
Water.
But I guess where can people find you on YouTube or whatever?
Yeah, anything you want to
yeah.
promote?
Sure. You can find me on youtube.com/Reina Scully. Everything else is just Reina Scully, my Twitter, Instagram, everything like that. But yeah,
maybe on Twitch in the future.
maybe
Yeah.
on
Maybe
Twitch.
on
in the
Twitch.
future. Yeah.
I'll be sure to lurk your Twitch and never say
no.
anything.
You're right. That is creepy. I'll stop you guys.
Time to learn Japanese.
Yeah. I'll be sure to like actually read your
Nihongo
name,
daishobu
don't worry.
desu ka?
Whenever you see like a Japanese text pop up, like now you'll look twice.
Yeah, exactly.
Make sure.
But yeah, guys, go check out Reina.
Thank
links
you.
in the description.
Thank you for being a wonderful guest. Appreciate
This
it.
very
was
much.
so much fun. I
Yeah.
can't even tell you how much joy. I, like,
You know, it's just been good to catch up.
Yeah,
because it's been
honestly.
far
Really.
too long.
Yeah. And I think we were saying this during one of the breaks, but like I got to talk about so many things I never got to reveal, and
Yeah.
it actually feels really good.
Trash
It's
Taste
like
coming at you
therapeutic.
with the exclusivity.
But also, thank you very much to our lovely patrons.
Yes,
Look at
thank
them.
you. Thank you
Look
so
at all the
much.
names.
You're
Who's your
wonderful.
favorite one, Reina? Point to it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I was gonna say that one too.
One person watching this is like, yes! But yeah, guys, if you enjoyed it and want to support the show, make sure to go to patreon.com/trashtaste. Also follow us on Twitter, send us your memes on the subreddit, and if you hate our faces, listen to us on Spotify.
Damn, is that like an official thing that we say now? Is it?
I've said it so many
Joey
times.
says it.
I legit haven't noticed that you've been saying the same thing every time.
I've been saying this for like 40
have
something
you
episodes.
ever shouted out like on Reddit and Twitter?
No, Joey does it.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
fine.
think I have. I'm just like, okay,
Just leave it to me, boys. I got it down to 2. Yeah, but thanks for coming, Reina.
Thank you so much.
For
so
having me
much.
on. Oh wait, I forgot to give you your gift.
Oh, sure,
Oh.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What
do you got?
It's not much. So I thought it would be cute if I brought a Mount Fuji.
Oh, let's go.
But it's just I think like crispy chocolate things. But
I'm
also and this is kind of fucked up.
Oh, is it shit?
Oh, sorry.
Shit.
Well, our SD cards are full, so we're just going to say bye now. Bye. Thank you for watching.
Bye.